Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's room of choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Looking for music that lifts your spirit and fills your heart? Experience the powerful sound of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. Now streaming on all your favorite music platforms. Find the Tabernacle Choir on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Let the music of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square inspire you today and every day. Whether you're at home, in the car, or on the go, enjoy the beauty of their world-renowned sound anytime. The Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square, streaming now.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Tuesday morning. What a day that was. We had a big game, and we had a big story. And you don't usually get those two things this time of year automatically, and you certainly don't tend to get them together, and yet here we are. College football, Brendan Sorsby getting the okay to play, mega story. Just gambling has always been a suspension, somewhere between a year and a lifetime. And it is dependent on the player and the sport and what's going on. Obviously, Pete Rose, lifetime ban. Obviously, the Chicago Black Sox going back over 100 years, lifetime ban. That's where this all starts. That's where all the gambling rules come from. The World Series was the biggest thing. The NFL, the NBA, the NHL, not happen. It was baseball, and a World Series got fixed, and nothing was ever the same. The rule was set. Now, other places you've seen, like the NFL has had 1-year suspensions for gambling. Doesn't matter if you go back 60 years or if you go back 6 years. You know, 1 year for a lot of guys who've gotten caught gambling, and their careers are so short. That is a big penalty. Brendan Sorsby's getting 2 games. Wow. Mark Harlan said he's disheartened by the injunction issued today in the Brendan Sorsby matter. It is hard to argue with that. Betting on your own team that's just a line that can't be crossed. And there's got to be a penalty for it. 2 games, your money game, and then your Oregon State game, coming off of 2-10. I mean, those aren't big games. Those aren't conference games. He's eligible as a conference opener. The reaction from college football has been loud. I don't know if I want to say it's been swift. I mean, we really don't know what people are going to do. They're making a lot of noise like they're going to do really tough stuff. We'll see. The SEC and Big Ten are talking about refusing to schedule games with Texas Tech in any sport and maybe canceling them. And this might hit Texas Tech football or basketball harder than football. You know, in football, you're going to play 3 games and honestly 1 Power 5 game, if that. Basketball, Texas Tech has big plans and big hopes. You know, they want to be really good. They want to go to the NCAA tournament, and they want to make a run when they get there. Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4, what can they do, right? Well, you got to have a big non-conference schedule. Even in the Big 12, you got to play non-conference games. It's really not clear how the Big 12 is going to react to this. And this could lead to more lawyers and more court cases for sure. More lawyers asking for more injunctions. Billable hours are undefeated. But will a carefully crafted penalty from the Big 12 coming from a conference rather than from the NCAA, will that land differently? Are there antitrust questions that are no longer in play? Man, I'm not a lawyer. I didn't play one on TV. I wasn't pre-law on Friday nights at UCSB. I don't know. I've read commentary from people I think are better informed than me, trying to figure out what happens next. It feels like there's more lawsuits. One thing is this decision will be appealed. The other thing I've read is that it will not be appealed quickly. That is the appeals court they'll be going to in Texas. They were thinking 9 to 12 months, and the season will be over. So it'll all be a moot point. I'm not convinced a lifetime ban has to happen here. There is an argument that, somebody younger and gambling's a disease. It's addiction. It's a disease. It needs to be treated. But a 1-year penalty is essentially a lifetime ban. Maybe he could go to the NFL. Maybe they need to craft a suspension that is what BYU did. Maybe what BYU did is much smarter than we knew at the time. much more clever. Maybe like a 6-game suspension, because it's half a season. It leaves half a season to be played, maybe more than that with postseason football, conference title game, bowl game, playoffs, whatever it turns out to be. Maybe there's an argument for that. Retzlaff was facing a 6-game suspension, and he didn't want that, so he went to Tulane and played a full year. I did see people stick it up for Texas Tech, and I get it. Tech, we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt here, didn't know this was out there when they recruited him. Now, I'm not sure that's true. I think it's probably true, but I can't prove it's true. If you want to argue it, I guess you can. Other schools were recruiting him, and I read, well, man, if LSU had won the battle for him, and LSU and the SEC might not be complaining about Texas Tech, and would they complain about themselves? It's not like we haven't seen SEC players get injunctions and everybody in the SEC roll with it, and I do think this is different than getting an extra year of eligibility or whatever. Really interesting. We can debate all that stuff, but the fact is Texas Tech did land him, and they want to play him, and now we'll see. We'll see what's next. The Big 12 commissioner had a carefully worded statement, shock, surprise, careful consideration, consider everything, committing to nothing until he gets all the schools together. Got to make sure he's got everybody in line behind him before he goes charging into the breach, right? So we'll see how that plays out. Super intriguing, shocking times. And people were ripping the NCAA. It's like the NCAA didn't do it. The NCAA did what the public largely wanted done, and now a court has overturned it. There's a lot of times to bag on the NCAA. This just isn't one of them. So now the other thing is the game. NBA Finals, Game 3, the Knicks win this thing by 10 or 20, and they're up 3-0, and it's over, and who cares? And I got to say, when they came rolling back after a bad start and erased a 12-point deficit and got up by 7 at the half, it was certainly plausible that the Knicks were going to roll to victory, and it'd just be kind of an afterthought. And no, they could not replicate that 42-point second quarter. As a matter of fact, the Knicks scored just 47 points in the second half, and San Antonio wins 115-111. Now, Mike Brown, after the game, went to the referee, and he said San Antonio played better, and he said all that kind of stuff, but then he went to the referee, especially the free throws in the second half. 24-8 in favor of San Antonio. Now, for the game, it was a little more balanced. It was 32-22. San Antonio did have the lead, and the Knicks did have to foul a little bit late. When you're behind, it puts you in a different situation. But there's no doubt the Spurs got away with stuff. And I thought the most egregious stuff was in the first half when the Knicks actually did shoot more free throws. I mean, Wemby's got to quit hitting people in the head. And I know his elbows are at head height because he's so tall. It's true. But he was looking right at Brunson. He tried to lay him out. And somebody else tried to lay Brunson out in the second half. Just beat up the little guy. Well, everybody in Utah, and some of you are too young to remember this, but everybody in Utah was incensed when Chris Webber laid out John Stockton. Guess what? Here we are. I think that was 99. I think it was game 1 of the playoffs in 99. And it was a vicious shot, and John wasn't looking. It was a total cheap shot. I think now it'd be an ejection and might even be a suspension. And then it was a technical foul, and on they played, and Stockton took he got blown up. It was a vicious, he wasn't looking, total cheap shot. Wemby's got to quit hitting people in the head. And they're clearly beating up on Brunson. And there were clearly missed fouls. And I don't like the challenge calls. The Knicks win the challenge. They have one left. The Knicks wins the challenge. They have no more challenges. It's like you shouldn't lose your challenge if you're right. The refs can just be terrible and just bleed you out of out of all your challenges. It just seems like a ridiculous rule. That needs to be changed. And we saw this. There were so many brutal calls and no calls in the Spurs Thunder series. They're just bad. The calls and no calls. And the Spurs had to win a challenge too. The Knicks won a challenge. The Spurs won a challenge. The Knicks won another challenge. Man, ABC was getting all their commercials in. It was just one break after another. It was completely out of control. And yet they're all bad calls. I want to hear about referees being in the gym at 7 a.m. and straighten this out. They're missing all kinds of stuff. They're missing guys getting shoved into three-point shooters. They're missing guys getting held. It's ridiculous. You got 3 of you out there. Come on. Somebody's got to see this stuff. And then as far as the game, I thought it was awesome the way the Spurs went to Wemby earlier. I'd have gone to him earlier and more often. I don't think they can put him in the low post and say, you're 7th floor, play back to the basket like you're Hakeem Olajuwon and Shaquille O'Neal and Patrick Ewing and David Robinson and Tim Duncan and all the stars of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. I don't think he's strong enough. And late in the first quarter, the Knicks did a good job. They were collapsing 5 guys. It looked like they were in a 2-3 zone, and it all looked like all 5 guys were moving within a step or two of Wemby, and they forced a turnover. They got to mix it up. I think the whole give them different looks thing. But I think at times, it looks like they put stuff in so they can get Wemby easy hoops. And they got him 2 dunks early, and they got him a layup, and they got him some lobs later. But I just didn't think it was enough. It seems like there should be a threat of him dunking once every 4, 5, 6 possessions. And there just seem to be too many possessions in a row where he's above the top of the key and they give him the ball and he's supposed to beat the whole defense off the dribble right away. They got really stagnant and were standing around late in the game. They were really fortunate the Knicks couldn't hit shots down the stretch. Move the ball side to side, move the ball to the baseline and back up high. You got to make the defense move, and then it'll give Wemby space and he can drive. I know he can be effective on the perimeter, but not with the entire defense set right into the teeth of it. And their spacing isn't good enough. There's help defenders to the left of Karl Anthony Towns, help defenders to the right. There's no space for spin moves. He turns the ball over. It's super awkward. It's painful to watch. I can't believe anybody on the Spurs bench thinks that's a good idea and that's going to work. Like, move the ball side to side. And when they do that, they get results. I mean, they break the Knicks down. And I would think they're going to see that on film here before Game 4 Wednesday. And I got to see more of that. And then, yeah, you can start Wemby. And they often did. The fourth quarter started. The 30 seconds in, Wemby got a dunk. Yeah, and then there was like one more play for him at the rim the rest of the quarter. Come on. Shouldn't it be 2, 3, 4 more? And you got to mix it up. I don't think you send him there. I don't think he's strong enough. And the defenses will collapse on him and they'll shove him around. And honestly, he couldn't even set a pick 40 feet from the hoop late in the game because Karl Anthony Towns was holding him up. So there's definitely stuff to work on. But I think deploying him different places, different times, different ways makes him really hard to guard you because he can hit the 3. And he did. He had a couple of big ones. He had the one waved off, but he hit 2. He was 2 for 4 from 3. I mean, he can do it, and he can hit the mid-range stuff. They got to move him around. And honestly, I think it matters if he's on the baseline or if he's at the free throw line or he's at 3-point at the top of the key or 3-point in the wing. You got to move him around and keep him unpredictable. He's so versatile. Take advantage of that. And he can back cut from there and still get lobs and dunks just because he starts out there. I mean, you just got to make it look different, but they got to keep getting him the ball at the rim. He's just too devastating there. All right, DJ and PK, we're going to take a break. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up, we're going to hear from Steve Cleveland and then Matt Larkin on the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA playoffs. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Steve Cleveland joining us as he does every Monday. A lot of thoughts on the Jazz and BYU, a little bit on the NBA Finals. Obviously, he didn't know the Spurs were going to win Game 3. But here's Steve Cleveland with PK and I. Steve, good morning.
Good morning.
Steve, the New York Knickerbockers have won 13 straight playoff games. My experience watching sports is the teams that have big winning streaks, when it falls apart, they often, not always, but they often have big losing streaks. This would be a terrible time to go out and lose 4 or 5, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be, and I'm hoping that does not happen. But that would be a terrible thing. I just don't see it happening. You know, the Knicks journey, they've just done so many good things. They kind of embraced the bench. It's not just 1 or 2 guys. Obviously, Brunson is as clutch as they come, player of the year. Karl Anthony Towns, probably best shooting big. Mikal Bridges and Anunoby, 2 3-and-D wings. I think they've got control of what's happening, and I think they've embraced it. And I love the fact that Mike Brown's thoughts about it's about sacrifice. Knicks need all season to get it right, and they did. And you know, embracing Tim Thibodeau, embracing the bench, they did won an NBA Cup title. I love where the Knicks stand and where they are, and it's just fun to watch.
I like the idea of positionless basketball, having guys that can do all sorts of different things, right? And we don't pigeonhole them into a position. like we used to just a few years back, maybe a couple decades. But I think it is biting San Antonio a little bit in that, particularly on that Wemby turnover right down at the end, because they don't have a point guard. They can't identify one. So, go back to what people can relate to here. If Ostertag or Karl Malone got that rebound, Stockton goes right to the ball, right? And so you don't have that situation. And even if, Castle, I think that's who it was, if I remember correctly, had turned his back on Wemby and he throws the ball. Well, you saw Jalen Brunson there lurking, and I wonder if he would have went up and stole the ball from Wemby then, because Wemby, when he bounces the ball to come up to him, is about the height of that Brunson is. So, and then on the other side, when it was tied 104, you've got Wemby taking a perimeter shot, and then obviously when it was 105, 104 with the game on the line, he takes a perimeter shot. I just don't know those two situations there. Get the ball to somebody who knows how to take it up, and do I really want my 7'4" guy? I know he's a positionless dude and he's got that skill, but is that the best offense to get in those situations?
Yeah, I agree. I think that you're in a late game situation and you're settling. And that's what I would call it. Settling for, a 25-foot shot. Why not take that thing to the rim? Why not attack and then kick and get a wide open shot? I just think that the decision-making really hurt them and cost them winning the game, to be honest with you. And it was right there for them to take it and win it. And I just think that, Coach Brown, important to the fighting through and staying connected, fitting together, all of these things that, not only exist in college, but certainly in the NBA. And, I just felt like it was not great decisions, and it was circumstances that it could have been better by making an extra pass, not settling for a jump shot. All those things led to, losing that game and being in a position where they could, get themselves back in that 7-game series and make things happen. But it really hurt.
And because we watched the playoffs and the finals, and then we look at the Utah Jazz and think, what lessons do we learn? I've thought for a while now the Jazz are going to add a veteran ball handler, someone who can and to PK's point, positionless, I don't know if we'll call him a true point guard. Maybe that's what it'll be. Maybe it'll be more of a combo guard, but still a veteran who can have the ball in their hands in the last 5 minutes of close games. Does this just maybe you already thought that was a guarantee. Does this make it more likely? Is there a world in which they don't add somebody like that?
Well, right now, you look at the top three as AJ, Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer. I know there are trades and drafts, and there's lots of things being talked about. But, right now it looks like you're going to have a Darren Peterson. I think he's 6'6", 6'7", can shoot it. And he'll be surrounded by Jackson and Markkanen and Kessler. I don't know. It might be a good time for something to take place. Peterson is a good shooter. I think he's about 6'6". And, I don't know if he's the difference maker, maybe a trade to get a better player. But Darren Peterson's not a bad get either. I mean, you're talking AJ, Darren, Cam Boozer are all three guys that are expected to take out. I know the Jazz have worked out all the prospects, and we'll just have to kind of see. But it would appear that Darren Peterson is going to be in a Jazz uniform next year, unless there's a trade or circumstances. You guys may know something that's happening. But I think Peterson's a guy, and what happens there or what trades happen, we'll see. I mean, Darren Peterson, I think he's 6'6". I'm not sure his exact all of his measurements and things, but I think he's going to be in a Jazz uniform. I think he's a guy that has to continue to work on his defense ability, defending ability, and he certainly has the potential to become a good three-point shooter.
David Locke, the Jazz radio guy who is basketball extraordinaire with all of his knowledge and stats and everything, he's thinking that Washington might be leaning towards Peterson because I would agree with him. I think he's the most skilled guy in the draft, if all things considered. Right. And so he thinks it's going to be the Jazz are going to have to decide between Boozer and DeBonsa. And he's not as high on DeBonsa as I am, for sure. because, he doesn't think he's a good shooter. My thought for you, or good enough shooter, how much can you improve shooting as you age? Because he's still only 19 years old.
Oh, no. Listen, if you can get AJ, you take him. And there's no question. I mean, you're talking about young players here, and he's a small forward, and he's a guy that'll probably be the number one pick unless we'll see what happens down the road here. But the things I like about this is AJ has proven that he can play in the mid-range game. Maybe he isn't as proven a three-point shooter, but these guys are going to spend their whole life working on becoming better shooters, becoming better defenders. If you can get AJ, they're better. I understand everybody has a different opinion on it, but the fact that he can play in the paint, that he can put it on the floor, he can create space. He's a mature young man. He makes good decisions. He doesn't take bad shots. I think everybody feels like it's going to be Darren Peterson. But if they can get AJ, I just think the Jazz become better. I know they've worked out everybody, but AJ makes them better if they can get him immediately. And I don't believe that because he's taking a lot of mid-range shots and because he does a lot of his work in the paint that he can't become a three. I mean, he's 19 years old, 18, 19 years old. They're going to get better. And I think that he has some gifts and skills. You get him in a situation where that's all they're doing is playing basketball, working on their game. He's just got the physicality. He can bump and take a hit. I like AJ. If they can get AJ, I think the Jazz get better. I'm not saying that Darren Peterson can't be a key cog there or Cam Boozer, but I just believe that the durability of AJ is different than Darren Peterson.
You mentioned earlier the Knicks, all the things that they did, including embracing the change from Thibodeau. They've embraced, I guess, some of the things that he preached as far as the way they defend. His fingerprints are still on the club, but it's definitely different with Brown calling the shots. And I'm curious, as a coach, how much it bugs you to see a coach who had his team in a conference final get let go. And we're seeing this more and more. I mean, Kyle Whittingham, 10-2, and they make the change to finish 11-2 with the bowl win with the team he built. We're seeing it in the Stanley Cup final. Vegas changed their coach out 8 games before the playoffs start, and now they're up 2-1 in the Stanley Cup final. I grew up watching teams that change coaches largely pay a high price for that. It only you got lightning in a bottle occasionally, but it was usually a mistake. Now the Knicks run counter to that, and there's some other examples out here. I mean, Indiana football, 2 years after a coaching change, 16-0, it's unreal. Do you think the lifespan on coaches is shorter, and how comfortable are you with that, given the fact you're an ex-coach and you've seen a lot of what I've seen and what PK's seen?
Yeah, my thoughts initially are, the word that comes to me is, patience. And I think sometimes whether it's a GM or whether it's a coach or it's a teammate, whatever the circumstances are, I don't know if I'm old school or whatever the circumstances are, but I believe that the Knicks and their journey, kind of embracing the bench and how they're 2 wins away now from a championship. It's been 53 years. You got Brunson as a clutch player of the year candidate, Karl Anthony Towns, great big with Bridges and OG Anunoby. 3-and-D wings. I think everything's in place. And changing coaches, changing players, that can be a really slippery slope. And I know that the GMs and the coaches and everybody involved with making those kind of decisions, I would just take a breath, slow down. Let's reevaluate this thing and realize what we have in front of us. And we know the Knicks are 2 wins away from winning a championship, and it's been a long time. And we know that Brunson and Towns and Mikal Bridges and Anunoby, this team sets. Why mess with this? Don't mess with Happy, right? Don't mess with it. You've got the guys in place, and it's just I would be really disappointed. And I still love Coach Mike Brown and talking about sacrifice and getting things right and being committed and embracing kind of the bench. And I think that's what's happening, and I am really pulling for the Knicks. It's been a long time, and I'm not a New Yorker. I'm not a guy that's lived there, but I do like the makeup of this team, and it'd be really disappointing not see them take this and win the whole thing.
We're getting in the middle of June now, and as I look at BYU's roster, they still seem like a big man short. Level of concern that they don't get somebody, or they do get somebody and it's taken care of. But I think the fans are getting a little nervous the longer this takes.
Well, there's always going to be that. The fans are going to always be a little bit nervous and not knowing exactly what's going on. We know that recruiting at the collegiate level is happening internationally. It's a significant part of the basketball program at BYU. I think what KY is doing there, and they've got a really seasoned staff, and we know I always kind of got a smile on my face when I see about 20 guys over there on the bench. But I do believe that KY has put himself in a position with his staff, with the international recruiting, everything that they're doing. I think that they'll find the bigs they need, and it may take all summer. And I think another thing is that just the Europe situation, going to Europe, international teams and games, I think all of that, there's still time for that. And, we'll see what happens. I'm not in the day-to-day decision-making of that, but I have great confidence in KY and his staff, and I have great confidence in a program that's doing what seems to be doing all the right things. So let's just see what happens, how it plays out. But I do believe a big part of this will be the international players that they're going to find here late in the summer. Because they do need a big, you're right.
Do they need just one, or do they need more than one?
Well, get one for sure.
Okay.
Yes. Get one for sure, but you're right. I mean, you can't have enough bigs. You can't have enough guys. I mean, I love the fact that you can go into Europe or go into the international scene and find players that have maturity, who have played, on obviously teams that 14, 15, 16 years old that are playing professionally and developed. And you have your high schools here and you have a junior college here. But, the advantage, I think, for programs to go out and seek and find players that, in fact, are in a position and have had that experience, I think enhances your opportunities to get better, especially during the summer.
We had on Todd Phillips at UVU, and instead of sitting around whining because he knows he's going to lose his top players most of the time, and he's put out some really good teams here of late, and so they come for his guys. I love the fact that his recruiting pitch, even to high school 4-star kids who are coming out, hey, don't go somewhere else and maybe sit on the bench. Come here as a freshman. You'll play. And all these other guys that are going through the transfer model, I guess, that they come here, prove yourself, and then move on. It's like he is flourishing with that basketball program by working the new crazy rules to his advantage. And it just seems so bizarre to recruit somebody saying, hey, come here, play well, and then you can move on to the ACC, the Big Ten, and so forth. We've seen it, the Big 12. And it's funny that you wouldn't think that that's what it would be, but he's embracing it, and it's working. It's like when you were coaching junior college. Guys coming and going, well, rather than whine about it, just find the best players you can and go from there, even if it's just for one season.
No, I love that thought process, and I love what Coach is doing there. I think it's just part of the world that we live in now. And I remember being, a high school and a junior college coach, and it was all about, I remember 2 or 3 players, Ray Alston being one, who ended up playing in the NBA for years, and he was my point guard at Fresno City College. And, the whole idea was come in here for a year. Just come here for a year, get this thing right, get yourself in a position where you can go play collegiately at the highest level, then go play in the NBA. And that was something we talked about all the time, that we have an opportunity here. And Coach Phillips is doing that. And I think I did that as a junior college coach. and it gave them an opportunity. And I had a number of players as a junior college coach who went on to play at a very high level in college as well as the NBA, and the opportunities were there. And so I did that most of my coaching career. I would just, hey, come play for a year. I'll get you somewhere that'll help you get better and get to the league. And that's what I did with every player that I coached in junior college, and even at BYU and at Fresno State, where come in, take a year. And I remember Paul George. It about killed me, but I had to tell him the truth, And here he is. He's playing. He's had a great year. And the next thing I know, after that great year, he's gone. And he's in the NBA. And it was painful. Then I began to realize that let's focus on getting the very best players we can get. And if it's just for a year, so be it. And it helped me have a better mindset in terms of just always being disappointed because I'm losing guys. Let's go find and convince, like Coach Phillips and others you've mentioned, let's go find the best player we can find. And if it's just for a year, fine. If it's just 2 years, whatever. And you work that system, and it puts you in a position where you can get somebody again and then somebody else down the line. And that's, I think, how you have to recruit now, especially with the transfer portal and all of the things that are taking place.
All teams are built for 1 year. If you're one of the powerhouse programs, you've got the NBA taking kids after 1 year. And if you're anywhere else down the food chain, you got somebody above the food chain. So don't complain about it. And you two probably know this, but there are probably a lot of listeners who don't. It's like push is going to come to shove here pretty quick with BYU getting big men. But there is a date out there, and it's Saturday afternoon. Players in the draft either have to say, I'm staying in the draft, or that's their last chance to pull out. And so depending on who pulls out, there are going to be some big men available. Presumably BYU's been working on this, but I'm looking at the list. There's 13 guys, 6'10", or taller, who've been playing in colleges here in the United States, and there's another 5 guys in the draft who are playing overseas who are 19, 20, or 21. Now, not all those guys are going to pull their names out of the draft. Caleb Wilson is on this list. He'll stay in the draft. So it's not like all these guys are going to be available, but they're going to be some people available. And we don't know about some dude from Serbia or Spain or Greece, but they're all there, and presumably the BYU coaching staff and a bunch of other coaching staffs are all poised, waiting to pounce as soon as these guys decide if they're going pro or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're doing. They're waiting. They're doing all the work they need to do. And I'm not as familiar right now in terms of calendar and when you can do this and when you can do that. And I just kind of took those things for granted. But I think that you're absolutely right. You get yourself in a position where you can, in fact, find the bigs you're looking for, whether that's, internationally or whether it's through a transfer or through a junior college. I mean, junior college, that has almost become a non-existent thing. The highest levels of national junior college guys they can tap into. I've got a good friend, Jeff Reiner, who's been up at CSI, and I sometimes talk to him and ask him how he goes about recruiting. And he says, it's not much different than the Division I level. You're trying to get guys for a year, sell them on, hey, come here, play for me, and I'll get you to Houston. I'll get you to, wherever it might be. And I think that's the mentality and the mindset, and I think that's what you have to do and realize that, hey, you do everything you can to get that big, and whatever it takes. If you don't, you keep working it. Like you'd mentioned, both of you have mentioned internationally. I think there's opportunities, and that's what the game is now. And dealing with the transfer portal is something unique. And people are here and they're not there. You gotta basically just put your arms around it, embrace it, don't complain about it, and do the very best you can to make your program better. Whatever that commitment is to, whether it's junior college, whether it's a transfer portal, whatever the circumstances, be on top of that. I don't think you can be a college or a junior college or any coach today that if you're not fully aware of what's going on around the world. And that's just kind of how it is, and I don't see that changing. The transfer portal is not going away, and that's just the world of college basketball and the world of professional basketball. That's just how things are, and you have to embrace it. If you don't embrace it, you're going to be behind that 8 ball there.
All right, there is Steve Cleveland. When we come back, Matt Larkin joins us to talk Stanley Cup Finals from Daily Faceoff. That's next. Stay with us.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're joined once again by Matt Larkin, managing editor and senior writer at Daily Faceoff. Matt, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. Matt, I imagine there's some hockey fan somewhere in America who's watching that game and it's 4-zip. And there's some honeydew list, or they go to the bathroom, they're pulled away from the TV for a couple minutes, they come back, or I guess it's 4-0. They come back and it's 3 goals in 39 seconds. They're like, what just happened? I just went out and moved the car. What happened?
Well, it's funny, too. It's like apparently the motto or the moral of this series is never lead a game 2-0, because the team that led 2-0 has blown that lead in all 3 games. It's been pretty spectacular, particularly because if you think of the identity of the Vegas Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricanes and their coaches, John Tortorella and Rod Brind'Amour, they play lockdown hockey. They're known for smothering their opponents. They're known for preferring to win a game 2-1. And it's just been wild back and forth. All 3 games in this series have been absolute barn burners.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Taking a big picture view, hockey people, whether it's the commissioner or whomever, just look at the last year plus, the 4 nations, the Olympics, and now this. I mean, could you ask for anything better for hockey?
And I think I agree. And I think a real testament to it is the fact that even if you look at as hockey markets, Carolina and Vegas, they're not necessarily 2 that will attract fans from all over typically, but we're still seeing huge TV ratings. We're seeing the highest TV ratings we've ever gotten in the U.S. Throughout the entire year, and we're seeing record revenues for the NHL. So it does feel like the game is reaching a new peak right now.
I hesitate to ask you to predict anything because this series has been so incredibly unpredictable. Is there anything you feel sure about going forward?
I'm sure that it's going to continue like this back and forth, and my prediction before the series started was Vegas in 7. It still feels about right. I think both teams are just so well coached, and they're so deep, and they're so good at both ends of the ice that I just don't see either team backing down and wilting in this series. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a big punch back in Carolina. I'm very intrigued, though, to see what Rod Brind'Amour does with his goaltending situation.
Oh, you took the question right out of my mouth.
Yeah, exactly, right? Do you give Freddie Anderson a mulligan and stick with him, or do you pivot to Brandon Bussi, who was excellent? And even if you look at the overtime winner, it was an unbelievably fluky goal. Yeah. So in my mind, he pretty much didn't give up a real goal on a clean shot. So I think that's also a major factor that could determine what happens next.
This Vegas run has been magical, and it's been almost so many games have been on the edge, particularly the Utah series, which seems like it was a long time ago now. How much credit are you giving to the coaching change?
Well, it's funny because I did talk to all the Vegas players leading up to Game 1 when I was there for Media Day, and they all had really, really definitively nice things to say about John Tortorella. And he is a coach who can come in and really change a culture quickly because he has that fire-breathing mentality. But what, to a man, a lot of the Golden Knights players said was, yes, he has that part of his persona. He's very honest with you if you're struggling, but he also has a real human side to him. And I think it was Jack Eichel who told me he feels like John Tortorella really cares. And that's not a knock on Bruce Cassidy. I'm not saying that's shots fired. I'm just saying that's how the Golden Knights seem to feel about Torts. And love him or hate him, he does seem to have a really strong impact. And I think that historically a coach with his type of persona, often, especially in the short term, will always move the needle because it's just such a breath of fresh air for the dressing room. And it's a veteran group of guys. And Tortorella even said he felt like they didn't need that much because they're a group that has already won a Stanley Cup, a lot of them. They only needed a few mild tweaks, and I think just his persona going into that dressing room has put them over the top.
I want to go back to your point about goaltending and giving a mulligan. Is it a mulligan, or is it 13 goals in 3 games? So this is more than a mulligan. This is now a trend in the series, and you can't just add up the goals because it's where are you losing the puck on the ice and what kind of opportunities are you making? Are you giving Vegas to score? So you got to factor that in, and then also, I didn't go to goaltender camp, but listen to people talk about it. That it was a bad bounce and it was fluky the way it came off the boards and this off the skate and in, but a little over skating there. You're supposed to go from post to post specifically so that doesn't happen. That's a fundamental that's been covered, and you should have that down at that level. So what do you think of that take, and what do you think about the 3-game trend? Because all that has to be weighed when making this decision.
For sure, and I think it is a fair point. You could argue that Bussy, he wasn't exactly in the right place at the right time on that goal. But overall, if you look at Freddie Anderson's body of work, historically he has a history of wilting deeper in the playoffs. Last season, the first couple rounds, he was at a .937 save percentage, and he was something like .838 in round 3 against Florida. He's a big guy, and I do wonder if we're seeing his annual physical breakdown maybe just happening around later. We also have to factor in he is grieving a tragedy right now, right? He was very close to his agent, Claude Lemieux, and yes, he did come forward right after and have a great game in response the day after, which was the one that closed out the Montreal series. But we still don't know how he's really processing what he's gone through and whether it maybe could be a delayed effect that's sort of carrying into the series. So I think all in all, if I'm Rod Brindamore, I consider giving Freddie Anderson a break, because if Carolina loses the next game, you can't do it for an elimination game. You can't say, okay, now we're going to go to Brandon Bussy. I think you got to go to Bussy for this one because he showed something. And if it doesn't work, you can still pivot back to Anderson for the next game. So I think this is your window. I think you can only actually do it right now. So to me, if I'm Rod Brindamore, I go with Brandon Bussy.
This is a little old, but the review in Game 2 by Vegas Golden Knights was somewhat controversial, but yet Tortorella said he would do it 10 out of 10 times. So I like the way he came out, almost like defiantly, that was saying, yeah, I would do it every time, even though it was, we know what happened and it cost him in the short term and all that stuff. But what do you think of that? Because I like his conviction to look at it and make the call, even though, in this case, with being down a man as far as a penalty is pretty significant, especially compared to the other sports.
Yeah, it's funny. I read it as someone, I was in the room when he said it. I read it more as a reflection of his personality. He's not going to give any quarter. He's going to just double down or triple down, and he's not going to admit whether it was a questionable decision. If you look at what Rod Brindamore said after, he didn't want to really get too much into it, but he did say, I don't know, I see it as if there's even a shadow of a doubt, you don't challenge. And that's kind of how I leaned. I think it was a risky challenge as soon as it happened, and obviously it proved very costly in that game.
Right, but I love his attitude, even though I took it in almost in a defiant sense that, screw you, I'm going to do it. And I don't care whether anybody likes it or dislikes it. What they think doesn't matter to me in the least.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's kind of a tort's gonna torts type of moment. He's not gonna relent, especially minutes after a game ended when his team ended up losing that game. I know technically Vegas still tied the game again after that, but still overall you could argue it changed the face of that game in terms of the back and forth, right? So I don't think he's gonna want to just give up that admission on the spot.
Do you think fans are outraged after the goal was not disallowed the second time, or is that clear-cut enough? How many bodies get to be in the crease? It looked like a 6-car pileup in Turn 3 in a NASCAR race. How much action can there be in the crease before a goal is disallowed?
Yeah, it's really tough. I think you have to treat it on a case-by-case basis, and I think it's the only way you can do it fairly. You have to just look at, okay, who contacted the goaltender? Was he pushed in by someone on his own team? When did the puck cross the line? When was the whistle blown? All of those factors, depending on the review, you need to, I think, use a fine-tooth comb instead of a broad stroke to determine what's right. And I know it can lead to perceived inconsistencies. Well, what about this one that wasn't disallowed? This one was disallowed. But I think that's the only way you can do it with maximum accuracy. You have to just look at every little element of the play.
Mammoth are sitting on some assets and got some talent on the team. A guy like Dylan Larkin, I just saw a story that, he may want to be traded, but they were listing Panthers, Wild, or Golden Knights, and obviously that's not the Mammoth. But from the Mammoth perspective, when do you know it, or if it even comes to that, to make a deal for an established guy if it means giving up one or two of your prospects that seems like we've been hearing about, and at least here in our area, we're so much anticipating these guys arriving on the scene because we've been hearing about them for a year or two since the team moved. It seems like Bill Armstrong, you got to be careful here. You want to improve the team, but you don't want to improve the team in the short term by giving up a young stud that could be good for the next decade.
Right. So I'm guessing you're referring to Tija Ginla and Denoyer. Yeah, those are the two big ones. You're fascinating to me. And it's funny. So I did write about Dylan Larkin, about places he wants to go. I think the story on Daily Faceoff might have just gone live on our site while we're talking, guys. And I did mention Utah still in that piece, because Utah to me is a team that's in a fascinating window where they've improved a lot. They've reached that critical mass of young players. And I think you're a trade away from leveling up and joining the Colorados and Dallases and Nodas. I think you could bridge that gap with one more move. And if you're Bill Armstrong, maybe you consider holding on to one, but you're willing to trade the other. So if the problem is Detroit's lost, they've missed the playoffs 10 years in a row. They don't necessarily want futures. But if they're in a situation where they don't have the right offer, they could consider taking a Caleb Denoyer, who's a center, as part of that package. And then you bring in Larkin, and then you have Nick Schmaltz, you have Logan Cooley, Dylan Larkin. You're three deep up the middle, and I think Utah, to me, is an intriguing team to make a trade like that because, one, with the prospects they have, but two, just cap-wise, if you go up and down what they have right now, most of the key pieces are under contract. There's no really scary free agent that needs to be re-signed. So there is a window to add. With the right move, you can join the top contenders. It's just a matter of, okay, yes, Dylan Larkin, he's only listed 3 teams that he's interested in, but I'm still a little skeptical on that. I think that he's going to have to expand that list. It's not always easy, especially a team like Vegas, who's in a pretty tight situation as is.
Do you think if they just stand pat in that internal organic improvement, guys getting a year better and all that, could the Mammoth be a 100-point team? 92 this year. There are only 300-point teams in the West. I mean, if you get there, it seems like you're right there at the top shelf.
Yeah, if I'm making a prediction right now for next season, I'm going to say yes, 100 points. Probably right around there. Even if you just look at Logan Cooley alone and the improvements you're seeing from him, and let's say we get a full season in which he doesn't get banged up and miss a chunk of games, that alone could give you that extra cluster of wins. Plus, you have a full season of Mackenzie Weegar now playing your top 4 on D. So I think they're already a 100-point team. I think the question is, do you make the trade now to become a 110-point team?
Ooh. Wow.
Because there were all of 3 of those in the league this year. You'd be one of 4 if you got there.
If you add Dylan Larkin and you're trading futures, so you're not pulling anything out of that lineup. So let's say if we use Caleb Denoyer as the example, you're just dropping Dylan Larkin into a lineup that was already a playoff team this year. Yeah. So I can see it for sure.
So you're fine giving up one, but not both.
I think so. And I think if it's one, it's got to be for a real sweetheart situation. So Dylan Larkin, I think he's 29. His contract is quite reasonable, right? He's less than $9 million a year. And in the $104 million rising cap world, that contract is even better. So if you can get a perfect asset that has several years left in his prime and actually gives you a real chance at the Stanley Cup for a sustained period of time, then maybe you do make that exception and trade one of your top guys. Because the thing is with Utah, yes, they have Denoyer and Ginla, but there's still more below them on the prospect ladder. They have several other, whether it's Cole Baudouin. There are so many in this system. They're really stacked. So I think they can spare one if it's for the right deal.
Well, Matt, that gives us something to ponder. Thanks for dropping that on the way out the door. Good work.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the good debate here. Good questions.
All right, there's Matt Larkin. Looking forward to a big game tonight, Game 4 in Vegas. Stay with us. What is trending? The headlines coming up next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. #NBA.
Brunson into the corner, moving without the ball. Shamet lays it up, blocked by Wemby. Erased that over the top of Shamet.
He obliterated that shot off the glass. They kept it under control so our guys get the defensive board.
Calling for Dylan Harper. Wembanyama with 3, with 2. Victor back to Castle's got to force it up. Right wing 3. Got it! Steph Castle drains a right wing 3.
And just in time, was pretty much forced to throw that one up there.
111-104.
The San Antonio Spurs win 115-111. They win Game 3 behind Victor Wembanyama's 32-point outing. PK.
Yeah.
They didn't go to him the first possession of the second, but when they started going to him, dunk, layup. I thought somewhere I could feel you. You're heartwarming. You were smiling like it's about time. He's 7'4". Send him to the rim already.
Yeah, I think San Antonio clearly had an objective, and that was to attack the basket early. And they did it, and often, and it was a thing of beauty to see them not settle for threes. I mean, it's cool that he could shoot threes, but it's way cooler that he's 8 feet tall and can throw it up there, and he can go get it just about anywhere and easily dunk it, and that's what he was doing. And that gets him, you talk about, we have Steve Cleveland on, and coaches who've made an imprint on my mind. One of them is Steve Cleveland covering his team right from the press row several years until he left to go to Fresno. Get yourself some momentum, some flow, easy baskets, and then things, confidence level is there and all that stuff. He only took 4 3-pointers, and he made 2 of them. Obviously he can shoot them. I'm not opposed to him shooting them, but that's really cool.
He took a 5th, and it got waved away because of a teammate shoving somebody into him. And he hit that one, too.
He did hit that one, yeah. And so...
See, I think his threes set up his dunks because I just don't think he's strong enough to play the way we're used to seeing big guys play. Shaq, Olajuwon, Kareem on down the list.
But you don't. Nobody throws the ball in the low post anymore.
Exactly.
So that game is gone anyway.
Exactly.
So he's not going to play that.
Right. And he can get plenty of dunks when he's at the free throw line or in the corner, wherever, when he's playing and they got to guard him because they know he can hit those. Right. And then he cuts to the hoop and they hit him with the alley-oop. Right.
The lobs are there.
Yeah. And it did feel like there were stretches of the game where they went away from it. Coming out of a timeout, out of the third quarter, it felt like in the huddle, the coach was like, guys, you haven't thrown him a lob in a while. How about we get one early? And they get one early, and it's 5 minutes before they throw him another one. It's not like New York can stop it, or anyone else for that matter.
The world can't stop it. Yao Ming and his bigger brother couldn't stop it.
Yao Ming might be able to stop it.
And so that was the thing of beauty there. And for all you AJ DeBonsa haters, and you know who you are. Stephon Castle in college.
Yeah.
27% from 3.
And now?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's not. It's better. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we're going to downgrade DeBonsa because he shot 33% in college when he was the only option.
Uh-huh.
And Castle shot 27%. Can we back off about that? It's like, oh my gosh, if you can't shoot threes, you're going to be the worst player ever. Yeah, and that would be the Knicks complaining about the refereeing, and they go 0 for 10 of their first 10 3-pointers in the fourth quarter. Well, how in the hell are you going to get foul calls? You're standing 30 feet, 25 feet from the basket.
Yes. Thank you.
And let's just keep checking. 0 for 10. They made a couple at the end because they had to take him at that point because they kept missing him. Suppose they would have shot just 40%. Now, I don't know you just add the points and act like everything would stay the same.
Changes the momentum of game,
right.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's another 8 points maybe that you could have had. But constantly settling for threes when they're not going in, whoever thought of that she needs to be fired.
I was surprised that Karl Anthony Towns didn't get more touches, didn't get the ball more. They won game 2, barely, but they won it. He was super efficient in that game, but I didn't think they went to him enough in that game either. I think he only got 12 shots in that game. He was 8 for 12. He was 4 for 10 in this one. Speaking of people who they need to get going early, who are really good, who are really talented, if Karl Anthony Towns is scoring 11 points, what do you think the Knicks' odds of winning are?
Yeah, but OG Anunoby scoring 28, so that kind of just cancels that out.
Super efficient. He was 9 of 13. Great game for him. But
Josh Hart doesn't normally score 16, so I don't know if you can just add points to his total because you're going to take away points from other totals. But I get your point. He needs to be more involved. He's a premier player.
I think get him involved early like Wemby. Make Wemby defend.
And Jordan Clarkson had the best game. He had DMPs.
Oh, my gosh, I know. And then he comes in, flame on, Jordan. Couple of threes, 10 quick points in only 13 minutes.
Flame on?
Flame on!
Would that make him a flamer?
Yes.
I thought that when he got hot there a little bit, we've all seen it, thought maybe they should have tried to go to him a couple more times.
Because we've seen it, that's what we were thinking. Everybody else is amazed. I can't believe he's doing this. And everybody in Utah's like, I can. When he gets hot, it just everything seems to go.
Right.
And I also thought that Mike Brown was complaining about the refereeing to make sure it doesn't happen in Game 4. That was, having seen Phil Jackson do stuff like that.
Everybody does that.
Right, exactly. And it probably won't go like that in Game 4. And they probably won't take 10 straight threes because that'll come up in film sessions. Like, guys, they're not going in. Try something else, anything else.
Yeah.
AJ DeBonsa, speaking of AJ, believes he's capable of being part of a quick success story like the San Antonio Spurs. It won't take that long, especially with my adaptability and my work ethic. I think that'll be, I'm not going to say easy, but pretty similar to what these guys do in terms of the forecast.
He shot 33% from 3. He's going to be an all-time bust.
That's why he's going top 3, because nobody believes that. It's not going to be an all-time bust.
Yeah, but top 3?
He wants number 1. I read another story yesterday. It looks like the Wizards are still going with AJ.
You did?
I think the Wizards are doing a good story of feeding different national guys different things. They might be warming to Peterson. I think they're going AJ.
Well, they don't have to, but they don't have to do that, though. They don't have to finagle it.
They don't have to, but are they finagling it, trying to get someone to take the bait and make a trade with them?
Well, I think the standard is already there. You want this guy, you give us Ace Bailey. And so I don't think that they're leaking stuff because I don't think they have to. They hold all the cards. And the Jazz aren't going to give up Ace Bailey.
I wouldn't think so. Atlanta Hawks gave Quinn Snyder, former Jazz coach, a multi-year extension. They promoted Onsi Sala to president of basketball operations from his GM role.
Onsi Solitude?
ONSI. Onsi?
I have no idea. Sala. I never heard of him. I'm not all things to all people. I have no idea who the general manager or whatever his title is for Atlanta. I don't pay attention to the Hawks whatsoever. Quinn Snyder can get his contract. Good for him. And then he'll be having off-season in the middle of May every year.
Welcome to Atlanta. 60 years of Hawks basketball with one exception. That conference final I had with Paul Millsap when they won 60.
And that's no reflection on him.
Snyder's overseen back-to-back Most Improved Player of the Year award winners in Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Dyson Daniels. But how will they make it back to a conference final?
Maybe they can build something there.
You might have had 2, actually. Did they have a second one?
Don't bog yourself down in details.
I want to know.
There's not one person who's driving right now
yes, there is.
or is going to listen to the podcast later who gives a crap.
This is Atlantic Division basketball.
Yeah. Nobody cares, man.
Yeah, there's somebody flew from Atlanta on a Delta flight direct.
Don't look
and they want to know.
Just move on.
I wasn't going to. Now I have to.
No.
Power of suggestion.
Okay, but do it, but keep it to yourself. Because we don't care.
Okay. That's fair. DJ and PK.
#NFL.
Exiled San Francisco 49er wide receiver Brendan Ayuk posted a video on social media that, while not referencing the team by name, suggests he believes the team is afraid to release him because he could land elsewhere and eventually make them regret letting him go. Team says they still hope to trade him instead of just cutting him. Get something for him. Send him to the AFC. You'll rarely see him.
Oh, send him.
Chiefs.
Send him to the Seahawks. He's got mental issues, man. It's a shame.
2 years after trading him away, the Kansas City Chiefs are signing veteran corner L'Jarius Sneed on a 2-year deal worth up to $5 million. He was cut earlier in the offseason after playing 12 games over 2 years.
Good job for L'Jarius.
Bringing it back. DJ and PK.
#college football.
So during our show yesterday, the news broke that Brendan Sorsby won in court, got an injunction granted. He's going to be able to play games after serving a 2-game suspension. He'll be back for the conference opener with Houston.
No, he won't.
That didn't go over very well yesterday, did it, PK? Which is why you say no, he won't. Big 12's upset. Big 10 and SEC are talking about not scheduling Texas Tech in anything. Nearly unanimous outrage and blowback here.
Yeah, they're Texas Tech acting like they're innocent bystanders here. The win at all costs. Who, us? We didn't do anything. And then Cody Campbell wants to be this big leader of reform. And I'm going to call him on this when we have this guest on here at 8 o'clock. And then Georgia says they're not going to play him. And then he tweets out, how many players have you had arrested, Georgia? You're fanboy. You can be all this leader that you want, but at your heart, you're a fanboy that's going to do whatever it takes to get Texas Tech to win it all. Even if it's meaning, he can gamble. Well, it's going to hurt his mental health. Yeah, so if you're DUI and you get your license taken away, well, that's going to hurt your mental health.
See?
So there's no repercussions for anything. Yeah. If you go to jail, shouldn't that ruin your mental health? I've never been to jail. I don't know. I would think that would have some kind of impact. So the point being, there's no consequence.
I don't see how Texas Tech can spin it and plausibly walk away from this after the statement Cody issued almost immediately that we read yesterday on the show. Is that you can't be an innocent bystander after issuing that statement.
Well, you're
hip deep in the middle of it. This is what you want.
He's threatening random Big 12 fans with lawsuits.
He's a fanboy. Yeah. He lost credibility. I appreciated his desire to have reform and what he wants to do, particularly saving the lesser-known, non-profitable sports, particularly women's sports. Women are besieged in large part, so I don't want their sports to go away, and he's trying to save them. So I support that 100%. But yet you strip that all away, and you're a Texas Tech fan.
Yes,
with a lot of money. So that gives you power equals money, money equals freedom, money equals access, all that stuff. And that's who he is. And these guys, they can clearly just say, well, sorry, Brendan, it's not worth it.
So apparently the appeal process would normally take 9 to 12 months, but the NCAA is asking for an expedited appeal, realizing that the traditional timeline is useless. So they're going to...
This was 2 months ago, less than that we heard about it, and he already got his injunction. Mm-hmm. So that can take basically overnight, but over here takes forever. I mean, come on.
Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark expected to meet with the leadership of the league, presidents, chancellors, ADs today as they discuss the issue and determine next steps. There are suggestions from K-State Athletic Director Gene Taylor and TCU AD Mike Buddy that the Big 12 teams stop playing Texas Tech.
Well, TCU is no longer Texas Tech's buddy.
Rivals.
Mike Buddy.
Mike Buddy. See what you did there. Very clever with wordplay.
And this is Yormark. This is his opportunity to be a leader, not to practice at Rucker Park and give me an LED lights basketball court. Nobody gives a crap about that nonsense.
Gigantic slip and slide.
Yeah,
it's a game changer.
That is cosmetic. That you're virtue signaling there. Show some leadership. Do what you need to do, and say, sorry, son, you broke the cardinal rule of all sports in the U.S. And I get other people saying, oh, well, he didn't do that. They don't know what gambling is. Once you go down the road of gambling and it becomes an addiction, there's nothing that's going to get in the way. I mean, we can go back years ago to Art Schlichter and all that. I mean, he threw away an NFL career because of it.
Yep.
And Pete Rose, clearly, obviously. And whether he should or shouldn't be in or whatever, that's not the point. But it clearly got to be an obsession. Charles Barkley has the money, and he openly talks about there's 25 times he lost $1 million.
Good grief.
Yeah. And there's 10 times he won. Well, because you can afford it. But yet, he's Charles Barkley, and he jokes, and so we just look the other way. But meanwhile, It's a serious problem.
25 times. Yikes.
That's what he said.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Wireless game, PK. Milwaukee beating the Athletics 15-14. A crazy game. The Athletics blowing an 8-4 lead. The Brewers tying it up with 1 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, 4 in the 10th to take the lead, and they can't hold it. But Milwaukee finally wins at 15-14 in 12 innings. Crazy.
Well, yeah, that was no question. It was crazy as far as that goes. And so there's some thought of what are we going to do in Vegas and all that, because that game was in Las Vegas. And is that the way it's going to be?
They're there for a week. Give them a little preview of what's coming.
They have a homestand there. And it's not the same stadium, obviously. I don't know. Do we have another Colorado that we had in the beginning there where no-name dudes are hitting 35 home runs at home and 4 home runs on the road?
Hence the name Williamsport. Yes.
Yeah. Which I played on that field.
Nice.
So, something to watch.
Trey Mancini called up by the Angels after a strong run with the Bees. He had 3 hits in his return to Major League Baseball. First time he'd been up in the bigs since 2023. Angels fall to Houston 5-4. He was a former standout slugger for the Baltimore Orioles before battling and beating colon cancer. So, good story. Him back in the bigs with 3 hits. Yankees 3-3 since Aaron Judge went down. They pick up a win last night.
Yeah, their win percentage with him is much higher than without. It's below 500 without. And it comes to mind, they ought to tell these guys, not all of them, but Aaron Judge, when you're playing defense, unless it's the playoffs, or you need to get in the playoff by winning this game, don't leave your feet.
There's no reason.
He's a big man. It's a long way to go. And that's where he said he hurt himself, was diving, and I've seen him play 20 times.
That's a big body falling on, in this case, ribs, but a shoulder or a wrist or whatever.
Don't leave your feet.
You're worth too much.
Right. They did that with Bryce Harper, and now they moved him to first base because he was running around banging into stuff in the outfield and right field. Don't do that. And I know it goes against what it's about. It's like standing there and taking a fastball in the ribs when everything about you tells you to get out of the way. But you can't do that, man. And the risk is too great. And I know it's against the competitive nature of everyone, but what are you going to do?
Yankees beat Cleveland 7-5 in 12 innings. Back-to-back wins for them. 3-3 since he went down. Bees open a 6-game series in Reno tonight against the Aces. Tony Park's on the call at 7:30. DJ and PK.
#golf.
Zach Blair qualifies for the U.S. Open for the 3rd straight year in Springfield, Ohio. The lone local in the field, Tony Finau, missed the cut by 2 strokes. He was on the same course. Patrick Fishburne was in an 8-way playoff. 3 spots for 8 players.
We're in that group.
Max Homa got knocked out. He made a bogey, got knocked out.
He lipped out. The thing with Tony, he's going to go to Canada and try to get through there. If not, he'll be 0 for 4. And he had played in 33 straight, I think, coming into this year. And now he's, if he doesn't get qualified through the Canadian, then he's not going to play. But yeah, that's what they call it. They call this the longest day in golf. And my wife a while back had an argument with the longest day of golf. And the gal says, it's June 8th. And I said, I thought it was June 21st. Well, I think that what had happened there was she heard the longest day of golf thinking that it was the sunlight. But it's
a specific day because guys have to play 36 holes.
Yes,
to qualify
for the U.S.
And then
Open.
they get in playoffs, so some of the guys are, they were talking yesterday. This is their 38th hole, and he made it.
Yeah.
And the other guys had to go to the 39th hole.
Right, and then they got to go up to Canada and do their thing. It's to the Toronto area, and go ahead and play. Some of them we qualify for that, and they got to go do that. So I remember her having that decision. I always thought it was June 20th or 21st or something.
It's not the longest day of sunlight.
Right. So I think that's where that lady was trying to tell her. So get back to her and tell her, no, this is what it's about. I did watch some of it because it is intense competition.
Oh, yeah.
So much on the line. It's not their tour cards. It's a tournament.
But they want into the U.S. Open.
The tournament, the tour cards, which they have qualifying in Palm Springs, is really nasty in terms of pressure.
BYU All-American freshman Kia Akina missed the cut by 1 stroke at Del Paso Country Club in Sacramento, California. Another local guy.
Just a freshman.
Yeah.
His arc is looking very good. Look like he'll get there at some point.
The Phil Mickelson Freshman of the Year, by the way.
The Phil Mickelson Freshman of the Year. Okay, I didn't know that there was an award named after Uncle Phil.
I learned that yesterday.
So you've only known it for just like less than 24 hours?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Well, thanks for bringing us along.
That's about knowledge, man. Acquire knowledge. And the knowledge you gain here, when you get to the next one, that'll stay with you, man.
Will it be Atlantic Division basketball level?
No, because you're not going to acquire that knowledge. That's in one and out the other.
You could. I'm right here for you.
But you don't care. Whereas the local kid making a national award as a freshman is pretty doggone impressive.
I'm here for you, Yak. DJ and PK.
#NHL.
Game 4 Stanley Cup Final tonight. Vegas up 2-1 after winning double overtime on a weird bounce. Can they back it up and go 3-1, or is Carolina going to tie this thing up? Bum.
Flip a coin, man. I got no idea.
Dallas Stars moved from downtown Dallas to Plano, Texas, one step closer to reality. City Council approved a letter of intent from the team for the proposed sports and entertainment district for the new arena. And Detroit Red Wings star Dylan Larkin reportedly gave the team a list of 3 teams, Vegas, Minnesota, and Florida, that he would accept to trade to. He has a full no-trade clause and can control his next destination. So, Minnesota right in the division with Utah, but not interested in the Mammoth.
For now, because we have
we'll see.
Matt Larkin on, who said that he might have to expand that list some.
Oh, yeah. If open your mind and the deal is there, maybe investigate it. Who knows?
What is trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Chris Level, Texas Tech football sideline reporter and host of Locked On Texas Tech, joins us at 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock, RJ Young, national college football writer and analyst for Fox Sports. That's all on the way. DJ and PK. Much more on the situation at Texas Tech and what is the Big 12 going to do? That's coming up. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome to This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
President of basketball operations for the Utah Jazz, it is Austin Ainge. How often are those top names switching around at the top of a draft board? Does that happen this late in the process?
It does happen. We're trying to force ourselves to keep an open mind. Like, don't get locked in until we have all the information. Make sure we're processing everything correctly. We're almost fighting a consensus or predetermination. We're trying to make sure we go through it as thoroughly as possible before we lock in. We are fighting groupthink. We're fighting media narratives. We don't have a consensus in our rooms, right? Like, there's arguments. My dad and I fight every day about stuff, about players. Coach Hardy and I spend a lot of time talking through it and picturing how it would work with this guy and that guy. And there's a lot of opinions and I work with a lot of smart people.
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe tomorrow, 10 to 2 at RGS Exteriors, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The question of the morning, Yahoo reports Big 12 administrators have had serious talks about not playing Texas Tech in any sports. Do you think they have the guts to follow through? I'm not completely sure they have to, PK. I'm wondering if Texas Tech is going to back down here over the next 24 hours.
24?
Yeah.
No way.
Really? Over a week.
Okay, I would think more.
Okay. It's just everybody's so anti, and you got to exist in that world long after Sorsby is gone. I wonder if they really want the headache. The kid's going to get booed every time he steps on the field, and he wants to play. I get it. But if you're Tech, you're thinking, is he really going to – if it gets to the point that he's playing, he's going to be under such a spotlight. Is he going to be that good under that kind of pressure?
Yeah, but that's irrelevant.
Does Tech want to put up with the sidelong looks and the glances?
So if he's good enough, then the answer is yes? That's even worse.
I know, but tell me that's not what they're thinking right now at Tech. They want to win.
Yeah, but they're not thinking he's going to stink.
Do you think they can walk in the room and be socially isolated?
I think it's not they. It's him. It's Cody.
Because the president isn't going to tell him what to do?
Yeah.
What do you think, Cody?
He's his boss.
He is. He's the chair of the Board of Regents.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's the one, and he wrote a another op-ed today in the USA Today about where
and
he's
if he
talking
won't
about
back down, Tech won't back down.
He wants to win at all costs. I mean, this is what it has boiled down to. He wants Texas Tech to be the king of college football. They're never going to do it, but that's what he wants. And so is he going to back down? Is he going to back? He woke up today feeling no different than he did yesterday. He wants Sorsby to play. He paid him a lot of money to come here and play, and I don't think that's changed. He's going to have to be talked into it, and I don't think right now is the time to do it. You're going to have to wait a few days. You're going to have to wait to see what the Big 12 does.
The governor, the state legislator, will they get involved? There's that story from, what was it, like 30 years ago now when BYU thought they might join the Southwest teams.
The world is so much different than
right, but the governor got involved, get Baylor in, and Texas A&M got Baylor in, and BYU didn't get in, and blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's according to BYU.
Yeah, according to BYU. But if that's how Texas
Ann
politics
Richards
really
ever responded to your questions?
No.
So, I mean, let's just not go with one side of the story and act like it's a fact.
No, nonetheless, there's a lot of Texas and Texas A&M people who have a lot of power in state politics.
What do they care?
Everybody seems to care. The SEC and the Big Ten are upset too, and they're both in the SEC.
Sure,
and they want to. And they want us. Is there a part of them that wants to swat Texas down? Or swat Texas Tech down
for a year? Just go out and buy the next guy next year. This isn't going to end.
That'll happen either way. But in the meantime, swat them down for the year.
Worry about yourself. I think
that's not how Sarkisian's been rolling. Now, this isn't about Sarkisian. This is about, upstairs above Sarkisian.
I'm not going to respond. Steve Sarkisian can do whatever he wants, and so I don't care what he does. I think it's the premise. Everyone is concerned about the premise, is that you're open up the Pandora box there, where now, if this is the legislation, or you go judge shopping.
Yes.
You keep going until you find somebody who says yes.
Find the judge who'll rule the way you want him to rule. Right.
Right. And that's what we have. I mean, here they got somebody who said, okay, and so apparently he thinks his ruling, his voice matters, and he can set precedent that, it's going to harm him. Well, sure. Every misdeed, when caught, you're harmed. If I take an apple from a store and I get caught, I'm harmed. And it's going to affect my mental health. Yes. This is no different than anything else. I do it at the most basic example, but you can go all the way to whatever infraction or misdeed you want. And so I understand why everyone, Texas and Montana and New Hampshire and every place in between should be concerned about this, because this means that you can bet and everything's okay. That you really don't. You have 2 games. That's it.
The penalty for gambling historically has been anywhere from 1 year to lifetime ban, regardless of sport level.
But that was
whatever.
then. This is now.
No. After the judge shopping.
And so you're going to go 2 games. Dave Rose lost 40-some wins or something because of Nick Emery's booster involvement.
Yeah.
And the family that was shopping around and finally they got the watchdog to bite after they had come here and gone to multiple places to get somebody to run with it. And the Tribune licked their chops and ran with it. And he was basically ostracized, and Dave Rose lost a bunch of wins over it.
I guess he's sounding off on his own situation.
Of course he should.
He was on social media.
Well, he should. I agree with him 100%, or certainly his right to do it 100%. And there's other guys in Iowa State, and so forth, and there's been plenty of them, because gambling ruins the integrity. And once you ruin the integrity, you don't have the second most popular sport in this country is college football. So they have to protect it because there's so much money to be made. And Brendan Sorsby, I think, unfortunately for him, is going to have to bite the bullet. They're not going to allow the Brendan Sorsby case to ruin the sport. So I don't think he'll play. But I don't think Texas Tech is waking up out of the goodness of their virtue in their heart saying, we need to do.
No, they're seeing everybody lining up.
Yeah, but it's
against
too
them.
soon.
Take them a while to cave.
Why? As I said, the presidents are going to meet in the Big 12. This is your Mark's chance. I don't care about your LED basketball court. That did absolutely nothing for me, Brett. I know that's way cool, and you're trying to be innovative. That's cool. That's great. Be as innovative as you can. But this is a real issue. This isn't about innovation. This is about integrity. That's what this is about. Now you have an opportunity to set forth a course for the rest of the sport to look at you and said, you set the standard. You would not allow this to happen. I don't care about your practice in Rucker Park. That's cosmetic.
But
I'm not into cosmetic.
I care a lot about this.
Yes.
As does everyone else.
And now he has a chance. And BYU didn't want to comment, but Mark Harlan went on there, and he commented on social media and maybe gave statements. And what Mark, he said it was disheartening. I agree with Mark Harlan 100%. He takes a lot of crap around here, but in this case, I agree with him 100%. It is disheartening. What in the world are you doing? The ramifications. And don't tell me, oh, it's just he didn't bet on his team to lose, and he was a young guy. He's underage. That's against the law. Mm-hmm. He's doing bets through pseudo names and whatnot.
Because he knows.
And that's the stuff that, and basically you apologize when you got caught. So if you you'd been bouncing around to 3 different places now. What else is out there that we don't know that's been going on, and what could become of it? And maybe it's not you. Maybe Sorsby has gone to the therapy and he's cleaned it up and he'll never do that again. Great. I wish him nothing but success. We had him on the show last July. He seemed like an upstanding guy, and I think he's got a world of talent. And maybe he could clean it up and never be tempted again. But what about the 10 million other guys that when their brains aren't even formed yet as scientists? And I believe the science, DJ. I believe the science.
I'm glad to hear that, PK.
And some things, once you get political agenda involved, I don't believe it. But we know that brains aren't fully formed until 25, and all these kids are under 25. And where's it going to lead? How much destruction is going to happen because of this? You can go as far as you want. If you want to downplay it and sympathize with it, then you can just isolate it and, it's no big deal.
It is a big deal. It has always been a big deal. It will continue to be a big deal. If anything, it's going to be a bigger deal because gambling is more prevalent and accessible. It's always been prevalent. It's always been accessible. But now it's on everybody's phone and it's in your back pocket or your front pocket, consistently.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
There's just like no way around it. And I think it seems like a bigger deal because now these, I don't even know what the expression, you can call them micro bets or whatever. It's just, you're betting $1 here, you're betting a 25 cents, whatever. These minimum bets, they're just, the companies out there who know just the sheer volume of that. It doesn't seem like a big deal. Back to the Barkley thing, well, I can afford to bet $1 million. And so just the average kid's walking around is like, well, I can't really gamble, but I could do $1,
Yeah, I told you yesterday.
What are these micro bets or whatever the expression is for them?
When I was going to NAU, I was playing card games till 2, 3 in the morning.
That kept you sharp the next day.
And I was struggling big time.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to get out of there. And I left. And that's nothing against NAU. That's me. I'm not putting it on NAU.
That could have been any dorm room.
I'm putting it on me.
A card room in a dorm game doesn't have anything to do with NAU.
And it was going on every night, virtually all night. When did you want to leave? Did you want to leave at 8 o'clock at night? Did you want to leave at 1 in the morning? Did you want to leave at 4 in the morning? And it was virtually every night. And it was getting serious. You weren't necessarily involved, but you were up to $100, $200, $300, which at that point, that's a lot of money for a college kid, especially from my family. It still is today. And so I knew I had to get out of there. And I don't think the second I left NAU, I'm trying to think, I don't think I've ever played another card game again.
Just had to get out of that environment.
Yeah.
And then you could walk away from it.
Yeah.
Which isn't how everybody's wired, but it's how you're wired.
Right.
So it worked for you.
Right. And so when I went to ASU, I know I never played another card game ever. I got lost, as I said, because it was so massive that you could just be a nobody. And I mean, I had to ward off women, but that's always been the case.
All right. Thanks for that.
You know.
No.
Unfortunately, you don't.
See?
So this is very serious. And your Mark and the presidents have an opportunity to lead the way.
Andrew with a post. The question is, Yahoo reports Big 12 administrators have had serious talks about not playing Texas Tech in any sport. I think they have the guts to follow through. And Andrew says this is freaking hysterical. They don't want to play Tech for something Cincinnati knew about and let slide until after he transferred. This is wild. When they walk in the room, does anyone look sideways at Cincinnati like, you guys are skating on this one? Or they're so caught up in the moment, they're like, Tech, what are we going to do? Somebody at Cincinnati had to know.
Maybe so, but why bother researching that? You got the problem at hand. Don't be derailed.
You do have a big problem at hand.
Yeah.
I get it. I still wonder. I mean, it's ironic. He was another Big 12 school doing this, and now Tech. I've seen other people on social media. The SEC getting all up in arms is hilarious, given what they put up with for decades and did for decades, and the fact that LSU was in on Sorsby and could have easily had this problem end up in their lap. But Sorsby chose Tech.
Okay, but that's not going to ruin the integrity of the game. This has a chance to ruin the integrity of the game.
No, I get your point that they've got to deal with this, with what's happening, the way it's played out going forward. But some of the people up in arms, you can see like, wow, would you really have been up in arms if this had broken another way? If he'd stayed at Cincinnati or if he'd gone to LSU or wherever else? Maybe they would have. Because Cody Campbell is way into this. I mean, there are plenty of boosters writing checks, but to get on the Board of Regents, become the chair, to do these interviews and sit here and reform and lobby Congress, like there's boosters who write their check and go to the games, but like they're done. This seems like another level of getting into it.
I don't know that they're done.
They're not going to Congress.
They're not doing this.
They're not doing this.
They're not, but they want access.
They do.
They're jock
and
sniffers. Each and every one of them is a jock sniffer who wants to be Taysom Hill's friend.
But yes,
when he was in college.
And that goes on.
And you're 35 years
over.
older than him.
Yes.
And that'll never change.
No, it won't. And you could pick any school in 15 years and you can probably find somebody. Right. I can go back to when I called UC Santa Barbara games and I know who that person is. They're literally in photos. You see a media guide online now, not books anymore, but they'll have photos of whatever big win from whatever 20,
There was a guy
30, 40
who
years ago.
traveled with Utah basketball.
Yeah, and this guy traveled. Yeah.
And he would be sitting and we'd fly on the South SkyWest things, and he'd be leaning forward so he could be a part of the conversation with the players and all. That's never going to stop.
Nope.
This is the integrity of the sport, and this is gambling. And every time there's gambling, everybody goes nuts. And I think eventually, you will be right. I don't think it'll be tomorrow, but I think you'll be right. I do not see him playing, and I'm not sure it shouldn't matter the talent level. Everyone should be treated the same when it comes to gambling, but I don't think he's that much better than Hammond anyway. So even if you lost the Houston game, whoop-de-doo, you can still win as long as he's back and win these other. Your schedule isn't very difficult. Blah blah blah. You don't play the two reg. What's that guy who does the magazine Yak, the big fancy magazine that you love?
Phil Steele.
Yeah. I mean, he's got Tech, BYU, Utah.
Well, guess who Tech doesn't play?
And Houston, those are the top four.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you don't play two of the three, you can't play yourself, obviously. And so you're going to be fine there. Your schedule sets up to where you're still, I think, going to be in the conference title game come the first Friday in December. And that's really all that matters. If you win that game, you get to go. I don't think you're going to win the national title, no matter how much money Cody Campbell has. Maybe down the line, but not now. So really, it's sort of much ado about nothing in terms of the competition on the field, because I don't think Sorsby is going to make that big of a difference on the field. But the status of the game and what you need to do to protect it is at stake. And he has to be, in a sense, a sacrificial lamb, which is unfortunate. The whole thing is unfortunate. Piling on Brendan Sorsby does nothing for me.
If he gets a 1-year suspension, are people okay with that?
I mean,
there are people who want the lifetime deal, but there are plenty of players who've gotten 1 year. Baseball's more likely to go to the lifetime. But in football, we can get examples from NFL, and I think from college football too. The kid at Iowa, I'm blanking on his name now. He bet $10 on a women's basketball game.
Rick Neuheisel got fired at Washington for participating in an NCAA pool.
Yep.
What the heck is that?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
That seems harmless.
He grabbed a bracket and filled it out like everybody else in the office.
But he put money on it.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that led to – and now maybe if he had been winning at the highest level, they wouldn't have done that. I don't know. But nevertheless, that's an example that's being used. So you have to put that out there. So I'd have to think about that in terms of the 1 year suspension. I mean, that sends a strong message. But some might argue that's not strong enough.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But going back, maybe it was when it was P. Rose, and my dad was telling me, I think it was Alex Karras and Paul Hornung, these big stars in the NFL in the 60s. They're going 60 years ago. There's all this precedent, and you can go forward to Calvin Ridley recently getting 1 year suspensions for gambling. Which in this case, he's a senior, so it's his last year of eligibility. So, I mean,
well, he couldn't come back the following year?
I don't think so, because the clock is running. Now,
well, then it's not a 1 year suspension. If
There's
he
no
can't
difference.
play, he can't play.
There's no difference between 1 year and lifetime when you only have 1 year of eligibility left.
I didn't know that he only has 1 year. But then he would go and put himself in to the draft. And I hope that he proves to the NBA or the NFL people that, hey, I'm over this. I made grievous mistakes, and it'll never happen again, blah, blah, blah. I will be a leader in this area. And if his talent – I think his talent is good enough to be on an NFL roster. To what level, you never know, because even the NFL people don't know. They've botched numbers 1, 2, and 3 picks on quarterbacks.
Plenty of times.
Yeah. But it seems to me, watching him play, that he has NFL talent, and go from there. Eventually, you're going to get your chance.
All right, DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're taking a break. Coming up, Chris Level, Texas Tech football sideline reporter, host of Locked On Texas Tech, joins us at 8 o'clock. We'll talk with him in about 15 minutes right here on The Zone.
For Jazz fans, it's been a rough few years. Well, those days are behind us as the Utah Jazz finally struck gold in the NBA Draft Lottery.
Picking second.
As the Jazz prepare to draft a potential superstar with the number 2 overall pick, nobody will bring you better coverage of the NBA Draft than the KSL Sports Zone. For all the breaking news, high-profile interviews, and player analysis leading right up to draft night, keep it locked on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5. The KSL Sports Zone.
Don't miss your chance to win big every week on the KSL Sports Zone. This week, you can win tickets to see the legendary Rod Stewart at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on June 19th. Great seats still available at livenation.com. Listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win.
Hot legs. I love you, honey.
He's more showman than singer.
Thank you.
He is. You too. That's what you have in common with Rod Stewart.
Well,
I was looking at you.
Rod Stewart, but you nailed it on both accounts.
Yeah, right. No, I think Rod Stewart. Like some people, like the Eagles get out there and they just stand there and sing, right? And people love that. Every time you go, the place is packed. Yeah, right. But Rod Stewart, he's way more Mick Jagger than Paul McCartney.
Okay.
He's got charisma.
He's also like 80 years old.
He is, but nonetheless, people love those songs.
If you want to go pay to see it.
Oh, yeah, they'll all be out there singing along. Who cares what he sounds like? I'm here to sing with him, said PK. All right, we'll do that on Wednesday, and there'll be a lot of people calling, be my guess. PK, we're going to get back to Texas Tech here with Chris Level in the next segment. So we got a minute or two for people just hopping in the car. San Antonio. Way to get Wemby involved early. Now, it got shaky at times. Stuff happens. It's hard to dominate for 48 minutes. That's true. The Knicks didn't have the same sense of urgency. I don't see how you can up 2-0. Now, 2-1, hey, you don't want to give it all back and start over with the best of 3. And honestly, I think as long as the Knicks win one of the next 2, they're fine. But why wait till Game 5? Just take care of business at home in Game 4.
I don't know that they're any more fine. You said if, okay, but right now we can't go ifs. As I look at the series, it's either. They have an advantage still, but San Antonio can get to 4 first.
Mm-hmm. Yes. They've been behind in other series and come back.
3-2.
Yeah, they're down 3. They were down 2-1 and 3-2. Yeah. Man, it didn't matter.
Well, 3-2 seems more urgent than 2-1.
It does. I get it. I was just saying 2-1 because this is 2-1 right now. They were in this exact spot. Mm-hmm. And to your point, they couldn't take the lead. They just split 2, and they still got out of the hole. I don't trust teams to do that on a regular basis, but who's to say they couldn't do it one more time?
Right. I mean, they could.
Take care of business.
Well,
Don't mess around.
love the mindset of just go to the basket. Castle's a big, strong dude. He's 21 years old.
I know.
And he is a strong guy, and it's hard to knock him off course.
I trust him going to the hoop, and Wemby for that matter as well, more when they get into their offense, the ball changes sides a couple times. When they just walk it up court, stand there and look at him, put the ball at the top of the key, and then try to drive down the throat of the defense.
Well, I think in playoff basketball, that's much more difficult to do because the intensity.
But in the fourth quarter, that's what they were doing. And it's like, there was one possession, the clock was like at 9 seconds and they hadn't done anything. They were still dribbling the ball on the logo at half court, trying to get organized and figure out what they wanted to do.
I kind of think they were not playing not to lose a little bit right there. And then the Knicks caught them, and they were able to make Castle make the big 3, some free throws, Fox making a huge bucket.
A huge 3 game. That was a terrible possession. They had nothing going. Somebody called it a bailout 3, and it was.
Well, the most dangerous guy is the guy with the ball with 2 seconds to go.
Just got to shoot it now.
Yeah, there's no pressure.
Whatever you messed up.
Jordan Clarkson did that earlier.
Whatever you messed up in the first 22 seconds, you can't fix it now.
If you shoot an air ball, no one's going to say anything.
Right.
So they just let it fly. That's the least pressurized situation to be in those. You have to shoot. You cannot pass the ball because the clock will run out. And he made that shot. And he's a 27% three-point shooter in college. And we want to make a big deal about the Bonsa? I ain't buying it.
33 is better than 27.
Yeah. And when DeBonsa gets an MVP, I am good. My feathers are going to just, what do they call that?
I don't know.
When a turkey shows all his feathers.
It'll be preening?
You're going to be, peacocking?
Yeah,
peacocking.
That's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah. When he wins an MVP, because he shot 33% in college when every possession was designed to stop him.
He was the man.
Right. Let's see what he can do, man. Jazz get him. I'll be his number 1 fan. Of course, if they get Darren Peterson, I'll be his number 1 fan too. I don't think they can lose. And either guy, and even and if Boozer is your consolation prize, sign me up.
Castler shot 27% in college, 33% in the regular season this year, 36% in the playoffs. It can improve.
It can improve when you're doing it 24/7. I think it can. Yeah. And if you want it to, if you're serious about it. And Keontae George just didn't wake up, oh, I'm a better player now. No, it was all the work that he did to get to this point.
You just got to pick your poison. Which of these 3 guys at the top, they've all got a knock on them. It's all fair. None of them are going to veto your career and just wreck it. Whatever it is, you need to overcome it, but you can't. Peterson could end up playing a lot of games. AJ can end up shooting a lot of threes. Boozer can end up being a highly skilled player. There are plenty of times the best player on the court hasn't automatically been the best athlete. I wouldn't pick Boozer to win a decathlon with these guys, but since they're not going to have a decathlon, who the heck cares?
And Bruce Jenner didn't play in the NBA.
See? Name another decathlete.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Name another athlete. Another decathlete.
I got nobody else.
Who are the 2 guys?
Why did he get so much run?
Because he won the gold medal.
But there's never been every Olympics. There's a
he was an American who won a gold medal.
No, so that's it.
Well, there were 2 guys they tried to promote before game. Maybe Seoul in '88 or maybe Barcelona in '92, and then one of them didn't even qualify for the games and wrecked the whole thing. A shoe company had a whole campaign. Probably was Nike. I don't remember.
Hey, we can't forget about Utah State legend Sheree Hawkins. She's been in the Olympics multiple times.
She won.
She hasn't won a medal, but she's been in the Olympics.
Women do the
times.
heptathlon
as a heptathlete, but
they do 7 events, not 10.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. Your point. I don't think there is a knock on Boozer. He is what he is.
Right. And for the people who are saying, well, he's not the best athlete, okay. Guys who aren't the best athletes have had awesome NBA careers. I think there's a really good chance he has an awesome NBA career.
Yeah, they got across the street a couple of statues there. Were they ever the best athletes?
No.
In terms of what you're looking at raw athletic ability, although I think Stockton's athleticism was
wildly underestimated.
Yes.
It was wildly underestimated.
Go back
because
when
he was
in
smaller.
his 20s.
But he's smaller and he didn't dunk.
But his quickness,
he could fly.
His change.
He could fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was really quick.
In 1988,
the 28-22 game, yeah.
That was just
that's unreal.
That was people in LA, having been there at that time,
were freaking out.
Yeah.
And the Lakers flew. I'd have to go back and add up the math for what Magic was in the West. But I think he lost like 3 playoff series in the West. And so he must have won close to 30. That was the time I was living in Santa Barbara, that was as scared as I ever saw Laker fans there. They were legitimately, oh, geez, they could lose this.
But Stockton's performance was as good as there's ever been at that position in that series.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And Carl could change ends of the floor and dunk.
He hustled.
But, he ran.
So
it wasn't like he wasn't a good athlete.
I mean, no. But they're all good athletes, or else you wouldn't be at the NBA level and being a top 3 pick, no less.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up next, Chris Level, Texas Tech football sideline reporter, host of Locked On Texas Tech. We know how the rest of the country's handling this. How are people waking up and handling this in Lubbock today? We'll talk with Chris Level next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are joined now by Chris Level, Texas Tech football sideline reporter and host of Locked On Texas Tech. Chris, good morning.
Gentlemen, how we doing on this lovely Tuesday?
Good. How are your podcast numbers? Through the roof? Got some recent headlines helping you out? Traffic way up?
It's, well, I mean, you know, in our business, whatever we're involved with, you just, you react to news. It's definitely been a circus around here for, I don't know, 6 weeks. But we do drama well here. I mean, you're talking to somebody that dealt with Coach Leach getting fired years and years ago in a courtroom, ironically enough. And but yeah, this is just the next chapter in drama in Lubbock, Texas. But an interesting day yesterday for sure.
Now, this is a question that can't be answered with any degree of factuality, which isn't a word, but you get the point. That I'm going to ask it anyway. What percentage do you think would you put on Game 3 of Sorsby being the starting quarterback for Texas Tech in the 26 football season?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously layers to that. I mean, based on the court and the legal part of this, I would say 100%. I don't think there's any. Like this was it. As far as like affecting his eligibility for the 2026 season. I've asked about the appeals process. I've tried to, obviously I've got the documentation yesterday that the trial has been set for February the 8th, because based on the judge's ruling, he's ruling, I don't want to take this young man away from what I think would help him. You can roll your eyes at that or not. That's what he ruled on. And it was a judge from Fort Worth, Texas that replaced the original judge. And then I knew that this case wouldn't be heard in January because Brendan Sorsby's local attorney, as part of this legal team, his local attorney is a guy named Dustin Burrows, and Dustin Burrows actually happens to be the Speaker of the House in the state of Texas, and they're in session in January, and you can't have a trial without your local attorney present. So, the earliest it could be was in early February, which is what it was set for. Now, is there something else here? Does Texas Tech, or are they allowed to come in and punish further? Or does Brendan Sorsby say, man, I just don't know if I want to go through all this? But everybody's kind of they've already kind of played their hand with a lot of this, and like the Texas Tech supported this young man, and knowing that this is the reaction, and if he doesn't get the injunction granted, then you shake his hand and wish him luck, and away you go. That's what also it's worth pointing out, like all the reaction, the anger and all that. Like, where was that? Like, I just think nobody thought he was going to win the injunction,
Right.
And
I'd agree with that.
He did, it's like I'm gonna find religion, and I'm gonna really get really mad and angry and all that. So anyway, I don't know if I know the answer to that. I don't know if there's a next step here, and what that would be.
Just wondering about the Big 12, if they could do anything.
And great question. I think Brett Yormark is in kind of a no-win situation as it relates to what he's allowed to do. And you guys know this. I mean, like, neither one of the schools in your backyard are on Texas Tech's schedule this year, but this boycotting of, that's not how this works. Like the media rights holders are going to say, no, you want this big check that I mean, that's then, and everybody needs that money, including Texas Tech. So I don't think that's a real thing. Now the SEC and the Big Ten stuff, that there could be some truth to that we could see play out, and that could have some lasting ramifications. But yeah, I believe there's an athletic director's call in the next day or so. There's a president's call later this week, and I don't know where we go from there, and if there's a happy medium there. I don't know, because short of him being declared ineligible, I just don't know if anybody's going to be satisfied with any sort of further suspension or whatever. And people have asked, how did the 2-game thing come out? Well, in the hearing, Sorsby's representation pointed to an Indiana volleyball coach that was suspended for 30% of his season that had bet over $325,000. You can Google it. This is the NCAA's precedent. Like they said, we know you did this. You're caught. It was a much larger dollar figure than what was reported for Brendan Sorsby. We're going to suspend you. What was the equivalent of 10 games? So I think Sorsby's legal team, it was a bit of a negotiation. Like, hey, we're going to pitch 2 games. Maybe you're going to say half a season. Let's settle on 4. I don't know. That's kind of what. And so, but they never countered. They were just like, we don't think he should ever play. And so that's kind of where that. And so the judge basically was like, we're going to accept this imposed penalty. And that's kind of where that came from. But I think that's why they proposed because he mentioned this case and this precedent repeatedly in the courtroom a week ago yesterday.
So there's the official levels of power, and you talk about, February there could be an appeal, right? Then there's the unofficial way things work, which, to your point, one example would be the right holders like, hey, you got to play those games if you want this check. What about Texas state politics? Cody Campbell is the chair of the Board of Regents for Texas Tech. Who do they answer to as far as governor, Texas state legislature, if anyone? I don't know. Maybe he's just emperor. How does that work, and who might put their thumb on the scale there, if anyone?
Well, yeah, I mean, Greg Abbott is the governor, and like you've got Texas Tech people, Texas A&M people that are all heavily involved in. Obviously Senator Cruz is from the state of Texas. He's one of the ones that is trying to get this bill passed that creates some rules and a salary cap and all the things. And he's got ties to all 3 institutions and is trying to be supportive of all the institutions in this state. And which there's 10 to 12 Division I institutions in the state of Texas. So I don't know if state politics will play into this or not. That's a good question for me. But there's no one. I'm sure that most people would tell you that University of Texas, because of where it's located and because of their wielding power, that they would have maybe the most say in the state government. But Coach Sarkisian is been complaining about Texas Tech's schedule and all those things recently. So there's just been a lot going on here, man. I mean, it's like just pick up the whatever bucket of drama you want to play with, and there's plenty to get into there.
I appreciate a lot of what Cody Campbell has been able to do with his reform, especially when he talks about saving these other sports, women's sports, and the non-revenue sports, and wanting to go about with TV rights and all that stuff. I know he's got another op-ed in USA Today, and so he has, and we've had him on the show, and he has been a leader. But then I'm reading some of the stuff, like Georgia comes out and says, "Oh, we're not going to play Texas Tech." And then he tweets out, "Hey, Gronk, how many Georgia football players have been arrested in the last year?" And that really comes off as a fanboy. And once you do that, I think it hurts what you're trying to accomplish over here when are you a fan? Or are you trying to, that type of fan stuff would be from somebody who has a handle that is anonymous, right? And he just pops off. How much do you think that his going after some of this stuff, it seems to me it's beneath him, damages his credibility in the big picture of the good that he's trying to accomplish?
It's a fair criticism. Yeah. I think he's wearing many different hats here. And yeah, it's hard to, and we all do this to a certain extent. I mean, there's difference between being a broadcaster and then a radio host. Like those are kind of the same job, but they're very different. And like, which hat am I wearing on at this particular time? And I think that's a fair criticism. And I think Cody's coming at it from it's just, I think, as I mentioned earlier, that there's a lot of folks that are saying a lot of things that are deciding to, this is the hill they're dying on, and yet there's lots of things going on their own campuses or have gone on or whatever. But I mean, it's fair to say you can't really do one and then do this too. Like, which one is it? And I certainly understand why you would be saying that.
Do you think that I think people are social animals and people don't like to be isolated for very long? This could be pretty isolating for Texas Tech. And the Big 12 may not be able to do everything they want to do. The broadcast partners may say, hey, you got to play these games. But nonetheless, it could be pretty isolating. We'll see how many leagues decide they don't want to play Texas Tech and how long they stick with that. How much of a stomach does Texas Tech have for putting up with that stuff? Some people might have a little stronger constitution than others.
I would love to know the answer to that question. Because the irony too is that if the Big Ten and the SEC say we're not playing you in all sports, really it affects football the least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see why you say that.
Yeah,
they only need 3 games, and some schools aren't playing a power league anyway. So,
yeah, and you've got the regional opponent, you've got the one group of 5 opponent, then you've got the one game that you're trying to play. I will say that the Texas Tech and USC heavily in discussion about a 2-game series that would start next year, whether that's home or 2 neutral site games, and so that would affect that. I mean, Illinois is supposed to play basketball here in November as part of a home and home. Texas Tech played in Champaign last November, and so there would be some ramifications there. And is this grandstanding? Is this real? Is this somewhere in between? I don't know. And I'm like you guys. I'm curious to see if the heat gets turned up enough to where like you'll bend, and like, what does that look like though? Is this what I talked about earlier? Like what's the move? What's the move that goes, okay, we're good? I mean, I think at some level, some of the damage has been done because they chose to support their player. And, everybody's known this, but there was no threaten to boycott, 2 or 3 weeks ago. It just happened once the injunction was passed. So I don't know. And if you're Texas Tech, it's a fair question to ask aloud. This is a 1-year player. Is this all worth it? But again, I say you kind of already made that decision, So the no scheduling thing, like Nebraska came out, which is also, there's some irony there because Matt Rule and Joey McGuire are very good friends. They talk all the time. Joey's kid worked for Matt at Carolina and at Nebraska. I mean, they go way, way back. But you played Nebraska in softball this past season, which was notable because they were both good, but you haven't played Nebraska in anything in a decade, really. So I just, that I thought that was just interesting for them to kind of, sit back and take the shot. But whatever, everybody's going to do what's best for them, and if that's what they felt they needed to do, then so be it. But that doesn't affect now a Big Ten wide or an SEC wide. Sure, I mean that's I know that your track coach is up in Eugene, Oregon at the national championships right now, and they've got an unbelievable indoor facility here for the indoor season, and tons of the SEC and the Big Ten schools come here for these track meets because the surface is so good. So it would affect some of these sports for sure. But so I don't know if I know what the stomach is like there or what the move is to say, okay, guys, I just don't know. I don't know what that looks like. I'm not smart enough to grasp that just yet.
Going more big picture, what does this do to the NCAA? You got a kid who's admitted gambling, and we all know all that stuff. You can go look it up. And they've suspended people, coaches, players, what have you, in the past. And now basically they're being undercut. And what does it mean for the NCAA in terms of their power, and where do we go, rather than if Georgia wants to play Texas Tech in badminton, who really cares? It's a bigger issue, I think, and I'm wondering, what Texas Tech is thinking about that, because essentially the NCAA, which has been losing power, and this is such an important issue with the gambling, when it's been recognized as you can't do it, it virtually renders them powerless.
And I think we already knew that the NCAA was, they just continue to take losses in the courtroom. And that, Cody said something yesterday, about this is the system that, everybody's playing by. And I think what he's pointing to is that, Vanderbilt won an injunction on a 7th year of eligibility. Alabama basketball won an injunction by playing an NBA player. Ole Miss won an injunction in the courtroom for Trinidad Chambliss, and on and on. And so right. I think where he was coming at it from is like, if we feel like the rules are being misapplied, then you just go to court. But this was Brendan Sorsby's case. But is this the straw that finally breaks the NCAA's back? I mean, they just, and I, after being privy to that hearing last week, it was pretty clear to me, and I still didn't know if this kid was going to win the injunction, but it was pretty clear which legal team was well prepared and which one wasn't, or what wasn't taking it as seriously on some of the things that were argued and the precedents that was set. I mean, basically NCAA just kind of, I don't want to say they mailed it in, but one side felt like, much different than the other, regardless of where you felt on the rules or the case or what the arguments were or whatever. And this is just another long line of losses that the NCAA has taken. So, and that's why I think, you're hearing the words collective bargaining and do we need Congress's help and all these things, because I know it would surprise people, but Cody Campbell, he wants a salary cap. That's what he feels like is the best thing for college athletics. Right. And whether we get that or not, or is it enforceable, it remains to be seen.
Well, Northwestern wanted to be declared employees and unionized, and the NCAA told them no. And it's fun to kick the NCAA all around the parking lot and finally into the curb. But the NCAA is the association of all the schools. The NCAA is Texas Tech and Texas and A&M, and it is Ole Miss and Cincinnati and Vanderbilt and Alabama. This is the situation that they've built, each school's built and created. They all want rules until they apply to them. And we saw this with this new College Sports Commission that was going to enforce a new set of rules for NIL. And then we got a bunch of schools who won't sign it People think everybody else should be governed, and they don't think they should. And when they don't sign it, I mean, that just speaks loud and clear. You rules for thee, not for thy, or whatever that cliche is. Well, yeah, right, that. I mean, so we can yell at the NC all we want, but this is a collection of presidents and athletic directors who are getting exactly what they want. They want the Wild West. They can say they don't, but that's what they're not signing up for when they don't sign.
And I think it's important to note that every school in the Big 12 did sign that CSC, or that they signed it, so they were in unison there. But
they signed it because they have less money. The schools that have more money didn't sign it. If you follow the money.
Yeah, well, no, I think it was all 16 teams signed it.
I'm saying of the Power 4 schools.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. So, yeah, again, I don't know where we all go from here or anything like that. I don't know if this was there's. I mean, I remember. I'll take you guys back to, like, say, December. Scott Drew signed this player, James Najee, that played, in the NBA, and he was, traded away and all these things, and everybody lost their mind. I remember Tom Izzo coming out and going, "What are we doing? Like, this isn't the same sport that I recognize." I mean, Tom Izzo, I think we would all agree, is kind of a face of college basketball. And that was just the latest thing. And now everybody's like moved on from that and forgotten that even happened, because the kid wasn't really as good as I think everybody thought he might be. And now this is the latest incident that's going to ruin college sports and all that. But at some point, maybe there's some rules and enforceable and everybody gets together. I don't know if this is it or not, but I guess we're all going to find out at some point soon.
From a football standpoint, aside from all this other stuff, when will Hammond be ready? Because I sort of think he's not that much. Sorsby's not that much better than Will.
Yeah, I think Will is a mid September target date. I don't know at what. I mean, there's a difference between I'm cleared and I'm healthy versus I'm ready to play in a meaningful game. I think those are two different things. But I think that he's clearly ahead of schedule. I just don't know if we can pin down yet. And we still have a ways to go on trying to figure out, is there a setback? Does he get further ahead of schedule? How much does he trust it? I mean, all those things. I think anybody that was playing quarterback for Texas Tech this year, whether it was Sorsby or Hammond or Kirk Francis or Lloyd Jones, they did not have to be Superman back there. I mean, there's a lot on this team. There's a lot back. They don't have to be great. Maybe have to be great some and in certain situations, but not overwhelmingly great for this team to win plenty of games. That's just what they've kind of put together here. So, but yeah, I'm as curious as anybody to see kind of where this thing goes, because we've tried to talk about it every which way we possibly could on the hypotheticals, and I just don't know if we're there yet. But yeah, Will's a great kid, and hopefully he's back sooner than later, because I think he's been talking to Patrick Mahomes often, because they're both going through the same thing. And Patrick hurt his ACL in early December, but got surgery on it the next day, which is abnormal, because a lot of time you do what they call prehab and let the swelling come down and all that. But the Chiefs, they sent him to Dallas, and I think he's already kind of running around and doing some of that stuff. And so we'll see how quickly he is. But they've been kind of going at this with the same timetable a little bit, I think.
I don't think Sorsby's going to end up playing, but let's suppose that he does. What do you think of his mental makeup if every time they go on the road, he's getting booed in every stadium nonstop from the second he comes out for warm-ups? Does he flourish under that? Does that destroy him?
Yeah, I think, well, one, the road trips this year are not daunting in that, I mean, Colorado, Waco, Stillwater, and Cincinnati, Ohio, and Corvallis, Oregon. Those are the 5 road trips. The Cincinnati game was going to be interesting no matter what. Everybody was going to get booed. If Sorsby was playing, if he is playing, if he's not playing, there's just a lot there. And I go back to Indiana and Cincinnati's involvement in this whole thing is fascinating to me. I don't know if there's ramifications there. They knew, they didn't know. Why didn't they know? What was jeopardized? This integrity word being thrown around, all that stuff. But beside the point. But yeah, if he plays, I think it's very curious to see how he handles that. Because it's a lot. It's going to be a lot, and he's going to have thick skin. There's no doubt. But I think you were already kind of trending toward being the villain anyway, not just him, but your team, your program, whatever. And it is what it is. I think they're basically kind of just like, yeah. I mean, what I've learned in this is that I said this to you guys earlier. If you weren't any good, I just don't think the reaction would have been anywhere near what it is. If you were middle of the pack, power league school, and the player wasn't any good, I just don't know the reaction would be anywhere near what it is. But you're supposed to be good, and you're taking some shots from some of these big name schools out there because they've always ruled the roost for the last 30 years. So. And whether that is true or not, that's what I choose to. I find that interesting, but that's what I truly believe. I just don't know if you would, and maybe they wouldn't have defended the kid to begin with being Texas Tech if you weren't supposed to be any good. Maybe they would have been like, yeah, this isn't really, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? But if he plays, yeah, it's certainly going to be worth monitoring, and I'm curious to see how whoever they is, the PR firm, his people, the Texas Tech, whoever, how they decide to handle this publicly. I mean, he sent out a short statement, but at some point he's going to have to get in front of a camera and a microphone, and what's that going to look like? What's that going to sound like? How transparent is he? You can't go hide him in the corner. I just don't think that's what would work. So it'll be interesting to see how that part plays out too.
Well, Chris, we'll let you go. We appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us and trying to figure out what's next.
Hey, thanks, boys. I appreciate you guys having me on. Y'all take care of Jake, man. He's good people.
Chris Lovell, Texas Tech football sideline reporter and host of Locked on Texas Tech.
Yeah, not that good people, though. He's okay.
That would have been a perfect time to play Bleep Canned, but you'd only do that to me. You wouldn't do that to yourself. Yeah, but think about it, Yak, that would have been funny.
He's okay. I mean,
Bleep Canned!
Nothing special. Bleep Canned! As a human being, I mean, he's all right.
More on Texas Tech and Sorsby coming up with R.J. Young, National College football writer and analyst for Fox Sports at the top of the hour. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Turn it up. Let's go. It's a new era for sports radio in Utah. This is the all-new KSL Sports Zone. As always, DJ and PK kick off your mornings from 6 to 10. Then introducing the newest addition to the KSL Sports Zone. The coach, Tim Lacombe, joins Scotty G every day from 10 to 2. And as you wrap up your day, Jake Scott and Ben Anderson are there with the best sports talk in Utah from 2 to 6. Live and local, all day, every day. Your home for the best sports radio in Utah is live, on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. KSLSports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to Jake and Ben for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. All right, you think anything different after hearing Chris Lovell there, Texas Tech football sideline reporter? More questions than answers, trying to figure out the future.
Yeah, I think we're trying to, some people equate this with other stuff that isn't gambling, but it's gambling. And gambling is separate. So you can't lump it all together as far as Well, what are other schools? What are their skeletons?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same.
If they're not gambling skeletons, don't tell me about them.
Well, you can tell me about them, but don't compare them.
Right. Well, with Georgia, it was the speeding. We're trying to make this safe for college athletics, and the shot fired back is, well, maybe you guys weren't speeding all over Atlanta, endangering everybody on every freeway.
And that should be taken seriously.
Right, and that's a serious point, and and now back to the gambling.
Right. Yeah. And so
just because that's not being taken seriously or seriously enough that it's stopping doesn't mean we're not going to talk about the quarterback at Texas Tech, because we're going to talk about the quarterback at Texas Tech.
Yeah. I think they got in a little over their heads, and the national blowback. They supported him, and he's trying to make it. What's his name? Chris is trying to make it sound like, to an extent, well, yeah, we supported our guy.
You're supposed to support your guy,
but it's gambling.
Did they really think they were going to win, or did they think in the end the judge is going to rule against them, and then everybody's just going to go on? Because I think that's what college sports in general thought. They weren't taking a lot of heat for supporting their guy.
I think it's the sports in general.
Because you're supposed to support your guy, but they were all counting on the court decision to go the way they wanted / expected, and then there'd be no blowback because Sorsby's not playing. He's off to the NFL. They'll declare a supplemental draft. He's supposed to be a first rounder, but he's going to go later in the supplemental draft because all those NFL teams are thinking, well, he's going to get suspended for at least a year here. Why would I use a high pick on him? And that's kind of how I expected this to go.
I think you said it best when you said, what's good for thee is not good for thy.
Whatever that was, yeah.
Rules for thee, but not for thy. You mean rules for thee, but not for
that was
me.
deep.
That was eventually what I meant. When you straighten me out, despite the fact you're a below average human being.
He can straighten you out first, I will say that.
I expected you to straighten me out.
But that was deeper.
Yeah,
you took it to a deeper level. You start talking like in Divinish codes.
Divinish codes? That's like Da Vinci codes?
Of divinity, thee and thou and thy.
Yeah,
I bowed my head to close my eyes for a second.
I'm a plain-spoken guy. That's why I bitch.
Amen.
Amen. I need nothing more complicated than that.
So I don't think that you can equate, well, look at what they're doing. Everybody's not speeding here.
Yeah.
In a metaphor. And so
I did not know about
the gambling, and that always is separate.
I did not know about the NCAA letting this one coach off over here with 30%. I really, going through this, couldn't think of anything with with less than a 1-year suspension. And a 1-year suspension for a guy who's already played 4 years. 1 year Sorsby played, he barely played, so with the new redshirt rule, I think he skated on that. That's why he's got 1 year of eligibility left. I just figured he gets a 1-year suspension, and he's off to the NFL. Because he's out of college eligibility. But the judge threw everybody a curveball.
It's interesting that Texas Tech wants to die on this hill.
Do they really?
So far they do.
So far they do. Agreed. I'm not convinced they do. Maybe they do. I would still find that surprising.
I don't think he'll play.
I agree. Yeah. I don't think they really want to die on that hill, and there'll be a ton of blowback.
Yeah. And Cody Campbell's got to be careful because you can't come off as fanboy and then this distinguished shepherd of college sports.
He doesn't want to be laughed at. And there may not even be debate.
They're going after Georgia. Well, how many guys? That's BYU Utah anonymous Ute fan number one has a Twitter handle and does that.
He wants to be
That's nonsense.
He wants to be taken seriously,
and
but
he should
risks,
be. But don't do this other stuff.
But if he does this other stuff, he risks being laughed at, mocked, and ridiculed.
You're a fanboy.
And he wants to be taken seriously. And
I think he should because I think he's got some good ideas.
But that's where Chris's analogy, or maybe it was yours, but well, he is trying to wear multiple hats here.
Well, he shouldn't.
And that's not going to fly.
Don't be a fanboy.
Right, it's not going to fly.
Step back.
Yeah. There's enough people mad enough about this. Follow the money. You always say, follow the money. The gambling has a chance to jeopardize the credibility of a lot of games that don't have anything to do with Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And so somebody's sitting
ruin the sport.
Somebody sitting at West Virginia or San Diego State or ASU or Florida International are like, whoa. This could be a problem for us. And we're not even playing them.
Right.
Because everybody knows their kids could easily hop on the phone and do what Sorsby did. It's so accessible. Heck, it might be happening right now. There could be a kid placing a bet on a Stanley Cup game tonight or an NBA game Wednesday night.
Yeah, and then it's going to go.
Yeah.
Gamblers are bookie-type people are going to come at you, loan sharks, and then you're going to get in over your head. Then you have some inside information. You think, oh, man, I lost these bets over here, but this one is a sure bet because I'm on the inside. And away you go. And you wreck the integrity of the sport, and you ruin it for everybody.
Point
so
shading,
Texas Tech needs to look big picture rather than themselves. Because I don't think that whether Sorsby plays a game or not is going to have much effect on their record this year. And then he's only going to be there 1 year anyway. And who's to say in the fourth game he didn't get hurt?
I did think about that.
It's not worth it.
I did think about Gordon Hayward going to Boston. It was such a big deal. And we're going to watch how he does with the Celtics, and he goes down hurt in the first game. You know, you're a quarterback. You get hit. You can't get up.
Well, yeah, we did it here with Cam Rising. You know, he went through all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then
into a drink cart.
Yeah, in the third game? Second game? It was a non-conference game, but it was against Baylor.
It was the second game of the year.
Yeah, because I was watching it from a restaurant at a golf course in Texas because I had covered SMU and BYU the night before. And basically he never played again. I realized he came back against the Sun Devils, but he got hurt again. And so you wasted all that time, and then in the process you lost Bryson Barnes. And
he went to Utah State and played well.
Yeah, right. And he would have.
You wouldn't have had a 5 wins. You wouldn't have gone 5-7 if you had him. He'd won 8 the year before.
And really, what's the big deal anyway? Because then there's another season next year and a season after that, and now the Utes are in position to do really well again this year. And so you go into all this stuff. Is it really worth going through all this stuff to get to this point? Doesn't seem like the answer to me is yes.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoe.
Look, private equity doesn't like to add costs. They like to limit costs because they have a bottom line that they have to hit. I just hate when you've got somebody who has been working in the marketing department forever or who's been a sports information director forever, and they're doing their job and they're busting their butt and they're trying to tell good stories, and those are the guys that are going to get affected.
And to me, it's just a direct response to BYU having all the money they need at their disposal, a built-in way to fund the program. There's nothing about this deal that screams win to me. I don't like the feeling of it. You know, Matt Hayes summed it up best at the end of his article. He said, this is the same Utah athletic department that wanted so badly to push out football coach Kyle Whittingham at the end of a 10-win season, but was willing to pay him $13.5 million over the next 2 years to do so.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, a long time ago we were told List Radio is terrible. Don't do it. Now we're watching List Radio. We got List TV over there, and we got List Internet right in front of us. Turns out people really like List, PK. ESPN.com with the list 1 through 68, ranking all the Power 4 football teams.
Yeah, well, we're into June now, and so college football fans, of which we are and which our listeners are, you start whetting your appetite.
And these are futures rankings as well. These include looking ahead.
And also, we're now 1 month from today. I think 1 month from yesterday, less than a month now, was Big 12 Media Days.
Bum, bum, bum.
And I rented my charter. I'll be down there.
Nice.
I don't go with the common folk. Forget that.
The charter, okay.
Expensive, man. I got a credit card. They'll never know.
The future power rankings model. BC and Purdue, 67. BC 68, Purdue 67. That's the bottom of the barrel right there. A lot of the Big 12, the bottom third of the Big 12. Kansas 65, Baylor 64, Iowa State 63.
Well, I think it's really hard to predict a future.
Yeah. With so much coaching movement and so much player movement.
Yeah, because
where are you going to be in a year or two?
You only need to go back to the last 2 years, Houston and the Sun Devils in this conference. And now, and you told me what the rankings are, so I already know them, both of those schools are relatively high.
The top team in the league in the Big 12, they put Texas Tech at number 11. Nobody from the Big 12 in the top 10.
That's been kind of the bugaboo on the conference there. And the conference, I think, to a degree, has some more parity compared to some other conferences in that what held Texas Tech back from being probably a top 5 is they lost in Tempe. And because you had a decent quarterback, you had an NFL receiver who was healthy that day, and he was banged up a lot of the time last year.
Yep, but Jordan Tyson was really good when he was healthy, and he's healthy that day, and he's really good.
Yeah, and so that reminds me of the old Pac-10/12. You had Oregon that time was really good, and they go to Tempe the next to last week of the season, and Daniels throws a big bomb to Ayuk, NFL quarterback, NFL receiver. They're not really that good week to week, but they've got talent, and so you don't really see that necessarily in some of the other conferences. Big 10 seems to be extremely top-heavy. The Big 12 is good, but it's not necessarily top-heavy. Now, it can go a long way towards BYU starting undefeated, including a win over Notre Dame. That's best case scenario for the conference.
That'd vault you right up there.
Because you would have beaten Arizona along the way, and then a month later you go ahead and beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame probably has a good chance to come in undefeated also. So that game, is the 17th of October, I think? That has a chance to really be a big-time national game. And so you need those big-time national wins. And as a conference, you need it. You don't necessarily need it in basketball because you already have it. But in football, I think you need it. Like the Devils, I think in week 2 play Texas A&M. That would really help the conference if they win.
Yep. Future power ranking, Notre Dame, number 1.
Notre Dame.
Yes, according to ESPN.com.
Well, I think Notre Dame is like the Knicks. If the Knicks win, it's good for the NBA. If Notre Dame wins, you can't deny that it's good for college football. I could argue that it's great. It's actually the best scenario because of all the big dogs, they are the biggest dog.
The A&M opponent for ASU you mentioned there, A&M is 9, Texas Tech's 11. They've got BYU at 15 and then Utah at 25. And after Utah, they basically lump a lot of Big 12 teams together that look like they're pretty good. And they throw them all in a hat just in case any of them take off. Well, we had them pretty high. We didn't have them that high if they overachieved, but we had them pretty high. Put the Utes at 25, Houston at 26, ASU at 27.
Oh, 3 in a row.
Ding, 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 ding. And not that far back, you've got TCU at 31 and Arizona at 32.
Yeah, see, those that's respectable.
Right. That's 5 teams. So you have the 2 teams at 11 and 15, and then you got teams 3 through 7, all between 25 and 32. So it goes to your point. Can the 6th or 7th best team in the Big 10 take down one of the big dogs?
Well, it did last year.
In the Big 12.
Yeah,
In the Big 10, Indiana, right on through.
Right. The Big 12, I keep calling it the Big 12. The Big 10 reminds me of the end of the Mountain West. You had TCU, Utah, BYU.
Yep. And you were going to have Boise State. But before Boise State came in,
if you want it, yeah.
Utah, BYU
and so you would
off.
have been really top-heavy.
Yeah.
And then maybe have San Diego State or Colorado State gets good, Air Force.
They have Ohio State.
But it's like, who's going to win between or among those schools?
Right. They have Ohio State, and they have Michigan, and they have Penn State. Those 3 always recognized and rarely go very poorly, although it did last year for Penn State for sure. And then they added Oregon, which is a comparison, Boise State coming in, right?
Yeah.
You added a 4th team that people are like, oh, yeah, I will stop and watch that game. I will watch that team. And then they've got some other people who've done it at some point. Maybe USC will do it here again shortly.
State.
Yeah, Michigan State and Wisconsin have had their time, but they're way down now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Indiana came along. Hello.
Yeah, maybe.
So they could have 5 big-time programs now.
Maybe
6 if USC could get in the mix.
Houston is Indiana, or maybe Texas Tech is Indiana.
Yeah.
Because they hadn't been that good.
Right.
They were good in Mike Leach, but then they were.
Then they weren't.
High mark was 8 wins until last year.
Yeah. All right, DJ and PK, you can read that ESPN.com, has all the rankings and all the thoughts on Morgan Scalley's first recruiting class and BYU's ability to sustain what they've done in the last 2 years. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. When we come back, RJ Young, national college football writer, analyst for Fox Sports, joins us to talk Big 12 football and what's next for Texas Tech. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're joined now by RJ Young, national college football writer and analyst for Fox Sports. RJ, good morning.
Good morning.
RJ, you have this job because you don't like sports and games and athletes and coaches. You thrive on courtrooms, drama, and controversy. Am I right?
It certainly feels that way, especially given this summer, man. I mean, when you put all of this stuff together, I actually was writing a column about this for Fox Sports you can go check out, just in as far as what we have been through with administrations, with tampering, with hearings about this and that. My job has mostly become one where I can tell you exactly who runs college football. Would you like to know?
Sure.
Like
the local judge.
There you go. There it is.
I'm looking at your Twitter.
That's it, man. I mean, look, I never thought it would get to there because we all think about, like, what would we do as commissioner, right? But in this way, they get to be commissioner for a day, and their commissioning lasts for however long it's going to last. And Brendan Sorsby, man, that's the latest and worst of the commissioner ruling so far. And that's the other thing. Is it going to get worse? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, we talk about how the cornerback is out on an island trying to guard some big-time receiver, and that could be a difficult job. And it seems like Texas Tech is that cornerback where they are out on an island and everybody and their dog is coming down on them on this issue in their support of Sorsby. And it looks like, well, gambling be damned, we're playing to win, and if you don't like it, tough. And so with that in mind, with your action being so dominant, negative towards Texas Tech, what do you think the chances are they just throw up their hands and say, hey, we've rethought this and it's not in the best interest of our young man, of our football program, of the game of college football, and so he does not play?
Wouldn't that be the cool thing to do? Wouldn't that be the classy thing to do? Nothing that Texas Tech has done so far has been cool or classy. It has been a roughneck with a little bit of money. Now showing up to the tables, now showing up to the restaurant saying, okay, I demand good service now. I have enough money to buy out this entire restaurant. You treat me like you treat everyone else. But hey, the money gets you in the door. You still got to have some courtesy and politeness about this. And Texas Tech is flaunting its nose at all of this. I mean, this being your analogy. I'm going to fix it a little bit. Well, I'm going to play with it a little bit, right? And say cornerback on an island. It's not so necessarily being a cornerback on an island. It is a cornerback on an island who is committing pass interference, grabbing, pushing the base mask, pulling, throwing the wide receiver down. And there's a different side judge every single time. And that side judge is like, I don't think that's pass interference. And the rest of us are like, wait, can we see pass interference in the dictionary? And this is one of those. We have a player who is the first we know about that bet on his own team and is being allowed to play football. We have a player that allegedly broke multiple state wagering laws who's being allowed to play college football. We have a player who has bet more than $90,000 over 10,000 times, who has an addiction, who needs help, who's being allowed to play college football. And it's not even that people have been ganging up. It's we have to protect the integrity of our team and our sport. So we can't afford to be playing football or any other sport with Texas Tech. And that's where the Big 10, Big 12, and even Georgia's AD have got, we got to have these real conversations. We might not be able to participate in these sports with them if this is how they're going to get down. Because now it's not just Brendan Sorsby. It's this going, we're fine if it's our guy that was gambling on games, gambling on his own team. We're not if it was your guy. I don't think that the rest of college football is going to put up with that for very long.
Does Texas Tech have the stomach to be on an island? I mean, the whole collegial thing, and you walk in a room and everybody walks to the other side of the room and you're getting side eyes going up and down the hallway at every convention. Do they really want that?
Yeah, they have the stomach for it for now. It's June. It's June. Well, the way this goes is we got Big 12 media days in July.
Yeah.
I doubt they bring Brendan Sorsby. But every single coach and every single player will be asked, hey, what do you think about this in one way, shape, or form? You're not running from this. when they play Oregon State or ain't played nobody conference member Abilene Christian, they'll be asked about this. This is the story. This is as big as Michigan in 2023, getting caught cheating, going, we're sticking to being who we are. So when you ask, do they have a stomach? Yes. But this follows them forever. And do you really want to talk about this forever? No. So you're going to get hostile about it. You're going to get angry about it. You're going to say, hey, the courts decided to try to pass the buck on this. But generally speaking, people have the stomach for winning. If they're winning, they will put up with whatever it is that we have to say. It's not about what they're willing to put up with. It's what we're willing to allow.
Yeah, you are so right. We go down there and broadcast for both days because we got BYU and Utah, and they split them up one day, the next, and then vice versa. And I was thinking about this yesterday, obviously, that this is going to be the dominant story. We're barely going to be talking about football. When Yormark gets up there and makes his presentation at the Star, this is going to be the overwhelming topic. They're going to try to downplay it, but the rest of us who don't have an allegiance to the Big 12 in terms of getting paid by them, and they don't set the agenda for us, this is all we're going to want to talk about. And it's only a month away. And it's going to – Joey McGuire is going to get – no one's going to talk about the 15 transfers that you spend $20 million on. That's going to be secondary. This is going to be the overwhelming story. It's going to be a huge black eye on the Big 12 where we're not even talking football when we're down there when we're supposed to be talking football.
I think you're right. I think you're 100% right. And I don't fault anybody in the Big 12 for any of this, right? Like Sonny Dykes is actually loud about it. He's a Texas Tech grad, coaches Texas Christian. He's going, we lost the soul of the sport. We lost the soul of the sport because a local judge in Lubbock County, retired 2019, believed that it is in the best interest of Brendan Sorsby to play football rather than to permanently make him ineligible. And this all comes back from kind of a precedent that the NCAA set. And the NCAA's enforcement arm kind of sucks, right? It doesn't really get to do much. But in 2025, Indiana volleyball assistant coach Brett Agnew was found to have placed more than 700 bets, including 27 on football and men's basketball, totaling $327,000 over 5 months. And he got a 2-year show cause, a 10-game suspension, and a public reprimand. The point there is that he was not permanently banned for his action betting on sports. He doesn't work in NCAA volleyball. Last I checked, he was at Indy Ignite coaching women's volleyball there. But I think that's the thing. It was because they pulled back just a little bit on a guy that did something as egregious as Brendan Sorsby. We're dealing with this. Now, if you're Brett Yormark and you know that, you have to come to your members and go, okay, so maybe the SEC, maybe the Big Ten got an idea here. We should all break away and make our own rules that we can enforce on each other. Because if they're just going to use lawyers and judges to go look at precedents of what the NCAA has done over the past 100+ years, we all might be up a creek here. And not for nothing, we're not talking about Brendan Sorsby and Texas Tech here today because we want to, or what that we're going to want to in July. It's because that's what our listeners and readers are going to demand. This is the biggest story to them. They want to know about this. They don't give a damn anymore that Kirk Francis is QB3 at Texas Tech when he got there, went to the University of Tulsa, and he's going to have to start against Oregon State and Abilene Christian. They only care that Brendan Schwartz is probably going to be on the sideline in a Red Raiders hat when he shouldn't be.
What do you think the Big 12 commissioner is going to do? Who's going to lead the charge? Is there a school that you've heard is super fired up about this? I mean, the Big 12, they're mad. They want to take a stand. It's one of their own, so maybe they have to be a little careful about long-term relationships, but the short-term interest is so powerful, maybe they really go to town here. Who's going to lead the charge, and what are they going to do? What can they do?
I don't think there's much to do here. This close to the season, the NCAA is already appealing, but that appeal probably will not be heard in Texas court for at least 9 months, which basically gives Brendan Sorsby the ultimate relief. You can publicly reprimand them, but you should have done that already when they tried to reinstate him after making him ineligible. You can stop your feet. You can try to ostracize them, but I think this is going to be as chilly as it was when Oklahoma and Texas decided to leave for the SEC. Didn't mean anybody didn't play them. Didn't mean that anybody liked them either. It's just we're voicing our opinion about what you did, and Texas Tech would be like, fine, cool, whatever. Are we playing football? Stop the ball now. and that's where they're going to live. They're going to thrive on that. And if you really, really, really hate what Texas Tech has done, the only thing that you can do this year is beat the snot out of them. In every single sport you got to play. And you can remind them that, hey, you did this, and now we have more of an incentive to want to beat you, and ain't nobody going to like you for some time.
Can there be some good come about this? You already talked about maybe breaking away and forming some form of own body in which the legislation then has teeth. I'm wondering if that's something that maybe when we look back and say, well, at least there was a positive.
Yes, but it is all long-term, right? None of it is going to help us feel better about what's going on. It is the education of athletes in gambling, the education of fans in gambling. It is really making those lines even brighter as it denotes those things. But I don't think that there's going to be a big overarching change in who governs the sport. Like the NCAA governs the sport because nobody else wants to. It's a thankless job. Nobody likes doing it. And teams generally like the rules unless they're applied to them, right? And then they want to go sue people. I think in as far as what it is that this sport is becoming and how it is being professionalized, maybe we get quicker to a CBA and a union that won't have any teeth with a transient population every 5 years. But you get closer to making the model look more like the NFL. And if the model looked more like the NFL and you had a real-life commissioner, something like this happens, say, Deflategate, we know that an arbiter would go, well, in your system, Roger Goodell has the say over what happens to Tom Brady. And that's what happened, and that's what we're missing. Perhaps we get there. But I have yet to meet someone that we can all agree on that should have the job that wants the job. Like we all go, Nick Saban should be commissioner. He don't want this job with all his heart. He just wants to be on television and tell us all what's broken about it. But he don't want to be the dude doing the fixing and punishing. I do the job, but ain't enough people going to agree on that down the line. I think as we get closer and closer to things like this really getting on our skin, and we get these administrators in a room that say, okay, enough. We got to agree on who could actually be the guy to be over the top of our sport, be our Adam Silver, be our Roger Goodell. Maybe this is the thing that does it. I don't think it is, but it certainly will get us closer to it because nobody's having any fun, guys.
When you talk about a union and a collective bargaining agreement, what is the players' motivation for doing it? I mean, the baseball players don't – they can get locked out. So they don't want a salary cap. I don't know why college athletes they get to move every year, and there's a bidding war for them. Why would they agree to a CBA? What's in it for them?
They wouldn't. They wouldn't. Like that's just it. They would not. There's very, very little that is in it for the student athlete, which I think is a very good point that not enough people raise. I'm glad you raised it though, because what I think about all the time. Look, the reason that the sport needs one is so that the rules are easily applied. The reason a college athlete looked at this and it's like this Brendan Sorsby outcome, it's the best possible outcome for a player. Because, oh, okay, cool. The rules that I can actually bend or break just got a little bit broader. So how would you get something like this to form? The worst part about this is about 5 years ago, a group of players from Northwestern came up with an idea to make a union, try to get it past the National Labor Board. It was like, we actually think it's in the best interest of us long term. And we think that the NCAA and college football benefits from this. And they said no, because the short-term pain of having a union where you would have to pay them, revenue share and all these things, just didn't seem like anything that the rest of us wanted to go through. Now that House First NCAA is online, everybody's like, oh, wait, that union thing, can we do it? And the players are like, no, you said screw us. And frankly, this is working for us. Why would we change? It's a very good question, and I don't think that they would willingly.
Cody Campbell, the mega booster for Texas Tech, who's the Board of Regents chairman and all that stuff, and is writing op-eds for USA Today, trying to get reform in college sports. He comes off as a statesman, but then on the other hand, he's going on social media arguing with fans. In my mind, this whole thing damages his credibility, and he's just a fanboy who wants to win, and he happens to be rich. On the other hand, he wants to reform the entire landscape of college sports, which sounds like it's a good deal. But I think this is making him look bad. What do you think?
I think Cody Campbell is doing what's in the best interest of Texas Tech. I think he has never hidden that. I think from the moment he sold his oil company for $4 billion and basically said to everybody, Texas Tech sports is about to get a lot better, he's kept his word. Opening the sports broadcasting act so that we don't have competing big-time college football games is a great idea on its face. You can understand why the networks are like, no, because you go back to 1984 and the NCAA lawsuit with Oklahoma and Georgia going, we would like to sue the NCAA for the right to play on national television anytime a network wants to have us. You get formation television conferences like the Big 12, extension of other conferences like SEC, Big 10, so forth. And as far as what Cody Campbell is doing, I got a hard time really laying this at his feet because I'm here to tell you, man, I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was raised a Sooner, right? I get hell because I don't talk or say enough good stuff about Oklahoma, right? It's like, where are you from? Most fans, given the kind of money and the kind of stroke that Cody Campbell has found for himself, are going to do exactly what he's doing. There are things that they genuinely would like to see fixed, and there are things that they genuinely would like to see with OU that would go win. So they're going to work in both of those interests as they see fit because it's their money, it's their time. Now, I think that dude's taken up a lot of our time and a lot of our conversation for that reason. So I submit to you that, in the state of Oklahoma, we got about 4 million plus people, and they're all head coaches. But one of them getting paid to coach at OU, right? Make one of those folks a mega booster like Cody Campbell, you're probably going to get similar results. And as far as what he is saying, I'm not as interested, right? I'm more interested in how far down the line this goes and how long he continues to stick with the program being their Boone Pickens. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this idea, but boosters get old. Boosters go away. What will be left after he gets there? Because Texas Tech will still be on the mid-con, and we'll still be getting oil and gas out of the ground there. I don't see a long term on this one. They're good now. They will be for a little bit longer. But the impact he's going to have on the sport is the one that any boosters had on the sport for the last 100 years.
If Sorsby ends up playing, neither PK or I expect that. And maybe that's just a blind spot from me watching college football for so long, and that's usually how these things play out with gambling. You go away, you get suspended. So I don't think he's going to play, but if he does play, there'll be, on one hand, a lot of people want to boo him the second he comes out for warm-ups. There'll be another group saying that is just bad for his mental health. It shouldn't be like that. You don't have to like it. What do you think it's going to be like in road stadiums when he plays, and what's he going to have to handle, and what do you think his ability to handle that would be like?
I don't know about his ability to handle it because, frankly, he's never been in this situation before, but he is going to get the best haterade that could possibly be stirred and distributed at every single away stadium he visits. That's without question. That's whether or not he's on the football field. I genuinely believe he will play football. He will play football. He will start their third game. He is good enough, right, to make them good enough. I was watching what the sports book did. One made Texas Tech odds to win the national championship 18-1 with him. 14-1 with him, and him at 18-1 get the Heisman. I'd short the Heisman. Heisman voters are going. They vote their feelings. They don't like this. He's not winning the Heisman Trophy, even if he goes from 5,000 yards to 50 TD. It's not happening. But again, I'm from Oklahoma, which is say Southwest Conference, Big 12 Conference, now the SEC. Guys, I learned from Sooner fans that Alex Gillespie was born in the Soviet Union. You know how many hammers and sickles we're going to see at stadiums when Alex Gillespie comes to town because you happen to be the head coach at Auburn? Fans are going to go out on this. Now, his ability to handle it, hey, man, I think that they're going to hide him. I think they're going to do everything they can to take care of him. I don't think he's going to crack on the football field. I think it'll be at the end of this is very hard, but also at the end of this, he's in a good spot in as far as him taking care of him. And if there is a good thing to come out of this, honestly, I did not expect a university like Texas Tech to wrap its arms around a player like Brendan Sorsby, given this guilt, given this charge. That's been remarkable to see. We're all going to, they're paying him a lot of money to play football, and that's easy to do. But I also got to say, I've never seen this before. I've never seen someone be this wrong in their actions, and an institution like Texas Tech, lockstep, go, nope, this is one of our guys. We love him to death. We know he said that what he did was wrong. We're still going to back him to the wall no matter what you say. Families everywhere, I think, can learn from that and also appreciate that. We just, hey, Texas Tech, we wish you would have wrapped your arms around somebody else.
We'll leave it right there, RJ. We appreciate your time and all your energy. Thanks for coming on. All sorts of fired up about college football.
Thanks, DJ. Talk to you guys soon.
RJ Young, national college football writer and analyst for Fox Sports. DJ PK brought to you in part by RGS Exteriors. Join Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe tomorrow from 10 to 2 at RGS Exteriors at 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. When we come back, everything you missed in this show, NBA Finals Game 3, the Spurs get a W. We will get to that. Stay with us.
For Jazz fans, it's been a rough few years. Well, those days are behind us as the Utah Jazz finally struck gold in the NBA Draft Lottery. Picking second. As the Jazz prepare to draft a potential superstar with the number 2 overall pick, nobody will bring you better coverage of the NBA Draft than the KSL Sports Zone. For all the breaking news, high-profile interviews, and player analysis leading right up to draft night, keep it locked on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball, 97.5. The KSL Sports Zone.
It's time for the Slacker Radio headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com.
Trajan Wealth, Trajan Wealth, yeah, Trajan Wealth.
Game number 3 is win number 1 for the San Antonio Spurs. Victor Wemby had 2 dunks in 2 minutes to start the game.
Yeah, me and Brendan, we made some money on that one.
Had a kid. Way to go.
It was like a whole different San Antonio ball club from game 1 and 2 to game 3. I love their aggressiveness. We're just going to go to the basket, man. And I could hear Steve Cleveland in my ear all those years. Take it to the basket. Get to the free throw line. Get some confidence going. Don't settle. And it's like, that's exactly what they did. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a game. I thought maybe the Knicks might blow them out. You know, all the stars, There's the 3 coolest athletes in New York City history.
Derek Jeter was there. I thought of your massive man crush on him.
I have one.
I know. And Eli was up and getting fired up, and I'm like, well, he did live most of his adult life in New York. It's close enough. Yeah, I don't think he was in NBA towns.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's good enough.
Yeah, it was. Okay, those 2. Who else?
No, I got.
You didn't count Eli. Is Jeter?
Jeter's one. The 3 coolest athletes in New York
Clyde,
history.
how about that suit? Can you see me walking into that?
No.
It takes people of a certain stature to pull that off. He's Clyde. He can do it.
He was the biggest thing when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So he's 2.
Mm-hmm. I don't get celebrity starstruck. We've been around too many celebrities. It'd just be exhausting. There's no point in it. But I got to say, in a Jazz pregame media meal room probably 15, 20 years ago, I saw him. It wasn't when I first got here. It was a little later on. I was like, well, that's pretty cool.
He always had pregame meal with Jerry.
It was pretty cool.
Every year.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd come through town once.
Yep.
And I'd go every time the Knicks were playing, and I'd walk in, and Jerry would be facing the door. Frazier would be his back would be to us because he'd be sitting across from Jerry, and they'd be talking because they were contemporaries. And then when you'd walk in and you go to set your stuff down, Jerry would look at you, catch your eye, and he'd give you the heads up. Every time. Like he acknowledged you.
He did.
He'd always go raise his head.
Just a nod of the head. No, I can see it clear as day.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have to be facing the door. He could be facing 90-degree angle. He would still be aware. Yeah. Peripheral vision. He had it.
And just, hey, I know who you are. How's it going? I know I just saw you 3 days ago, but
yeah, it doesn't matter, right? No, he greeted people very.
Yeah. So
he was Jerry was a very unusual, one of a kind guy in that regard, just so different.
Yeah, and I've said one of the greatest thrills of my life was getting to know him on a personal level when we went to Mexico.
Yeah, I never got to hang out with him in that kind of a social situation over that long a period of time. There were a couple times, maybe briefly, including media rooms.
Yeah. And then there was one time he was walking on the concourse. This was after. And he sees my wife and I coming from a distance, and he's smiling. And he goes, hey, man, I know I some people I can talk with. So we stop. We're chatting up. He got to know my wife a little bit. And this guy walks by. You know, Jerry's 6'5", and it's a smaller guy. And he stops in. He's, oh, man, I'm waiting for you to get back on that sideline. Jerry's blah, 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 talking to us. You're going to have to wait a hell of a long time then. It goes right back to talking.
Thank you, Jerry.
So who's my 3rd coolest?
Well, I'm trying to think who else I saw in the crowd.
No, I'm just talking.
Oh, they didn't have to be at the game?
No.
Oh, I thought they had to be at the game, and I was going through all the celebrities I saw. I saw Jeter there. I saw Eli there. I saw Clyde.
There's the three coolest athletes in the history of New York professional sports.
You're not going to say Babe Ruth, and you should.
No.
I mean, that guy stopped traffic. Okay, so let's go with someone more recent. Yeah, I think it was, but whatever.
This guy was cool.
Hold on. I'm rolling.
And not all of it was positive, but he was cool.
Reggie Jackson. Sun Devil.
He was a Sun Devil.
Yeah. Oh, he was a big, big deal. Man, if I said Babe Ruth stopped traffic, Reggie Jackson stopped traffic. Reggie.
But was he really cool?
Reggie. Yes.
Oh, you gotta take it.
It's different. It's not like Walt cool.
But it's got to take it beyond just playing.
Yeah, but there's a certain style, a certain swagger. The way Reggie's name was scraped the ground, launches majestic.
Yeah, but you're talking about ball playing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about beyond ball playing.
Walking down the street. A certain je ne sais quoi.
I don't speak Greek, but yeah.
Let's see.
This other guy had it. And his coolness might actually have superseded his ball playing, but his ball playing, particularly one time.
And he wasn't at the game?
I don't know if he was. They didn't show him.
They didn't show him, okay. Because I saw Patrick Ewing at the game, but I wouldn't describe him as cool. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Great player.
Cool.
But
Right. Yeah.
Talking about cool, man. Cool.
Joe Namath.
Friggin' Joe Cool.
There you go.
He's got to be on the list.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the white fur on the sideline. That photo cracks me up. You see that thing? It's on social media like once a month. I see that, and I'm like, no way. Dude, what a white
He's
fur
the original Joe Cool.
He came through town. I got to interview him. It was great.
He came on our show, and he acted like we were boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are my three coolest athletes in New York history.
Joe Namath, Derek Jeter, Clyde Frazier.
Yeah.
Can't debate the coolness in any of them. Yeah, and there's something, I get your point about the subtlety of the word cool as opposed to people being awestruck when they see somebody. Mm-hmm. I mean, it does take a certain amount of that to get that, but they could be awestruck for something else. And there's something about Babe Ruth, horking down hot dogs in the dugout that isn't cool. You just ate 17 of them, babe. I'm not sure that's cool.
He was the babe.
Yeah.
He was on another level.
Yep. All right, so what are the Knicks going to do to bounce back? I think they got to get Cat more involved defensively. 10 shots is not enough.
Offensively, but yeah.
Offensively, yeah, sorry. Put Wemby on defense. Get him to spend some energy at the end of the court. Maybe get him in foul trouble. Cat's really good.
Yeah,
he didn't have a great game, and you're right. Other people filled in for him. I mean, other people, Clarkson may not shoot it like that next time out. That was vintage Jordan Clarkson right there.
Clarkson, Anunoby, and Hart had big games, and Brunson's got to be more efficient. He can't go 10 for 30.
Brunson is getting beat up in this series. Wembyama cracking him and no call. What was that?
I think that he felt like he was being held and stuff. But yeah, I agree.
Well, there is a lot of holding going on in this series. And then people complain about the refereeing. It's like, well, you complain if they whistle 51 fouls and give 70 free throws, which happened in the Western Conference Finals, but they were defending the same way. It's like they grab and hold and dare you to call it, and then they complain when you do.
I think the problem from the Knicks' perspective is they got 3 fouls, it seemed like, on the first possession of the fourth quarter, and it was clear the game was going to be decided in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden they're barely breathing, and San Antonio's parading to the free throw line. What was it, 24-8?
In the second half, yes.
And so that was the problem.
32-22 for the game.
Yeah, and so...
Be the aggressor, go to the hoop.
Yeah, force the issue, man, because you're right in... It's all gamesmanship, and Mike Brown spent the portion of the post-game gamesmanship for Game 4. There's no point in rehashing Game 3. It's over.
Except to put the officials for Game 4 on notice.
Right.
Yeah.
You can do that in the regular season, but this is all about what's to come.
Yep.
And we've seen it. And that's part of their job. And if he gets fined, so be it. But that's the coach's job, I believe. Maybe if there's a distinguished, established captain star, he can do it. But the rest of the guys, keep your mouth shut. The coach has to do it, and he was planting the seeds for Game 4.
Yeah, Shaq in the post game was like, Phil told me, winners don't complain. And he's telling him to shut up and not complain. Like, whoa. Phil didn't want the players complaining and get that in their head.
Right.
Phil will handle it. That's his job.
That's his job.
Phil complained like there was no tomorrow. But he was working the ref in the next game.
That's their job.
Exactly.
Unless, if there's an established star, like you'd see Stockton go over and talk to him. Stockton had earned the right
Yeah, he was
to
also
say something.
super subtle about it.
But he would do it.
He did.
He's not
He would wait till they're shooting the free throws.
Draymond Green here.
No, he would wait till they're shooting the free throws, and the camera's off him. He'd bend over to tie his shoe. And in the days when we sat down in row 2 and 3, you'd be like, wow, John is unloading on that referee. But he didn't embarrass him.
He earned the right.
He didn't wave a finger at him underneath the hoop while the camera's still on him.
No. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, neither did Mike Brown.
Right.
He didn't show him up during the game.
Man, I felt
after the game, he made his statement.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the refs, they were really struggling. There's 3 reviews, and then they had to overturn them all. And Pablo Mastroianni's come on and told us correctly, hey, asking referees to overturn something when they already made the call, they don't want to, but they missed it by so much. They actually overturned them all. Well, now he's out of challenges. Why do they have that rule? If you keep winning your challenges, why do you lose them?
I don't think you should. On baseball, you don't.
Yeah.
But I think that playoff basketball, particularly the finals, is the hardest thing in the history of refereeing.
It's really hard. Totally agree. They're making it hard with all the holding and the
stakes are
clutching
so much
and
higher.
grabbing.
The regular season,
Yeah.
if you went to the arena and felt the energy and the intensity, their energy from the crowd and the intensity from the players, everybody would be dead by Thanksgiving. You couldn't sustain it. But here, I've said this forever. This is the blessing and the curse of the NBA. The regular season goes on, too many games, blah, blah, blah. And people lose interest. And the playoffs are so intense. The finals are, everything matters, that it is as good a show as there is in playoffs, any playoffs. Hockey gets a lot of run, great. But basketball, who takes a big hit in the regular season, the biggest hit, the playoffs are just as good as any other playoff. The intensity and everything and the crowd, and you can see the crowd. You don't really see the crowd in hockey, whereas you just see them going nuts, and it's just so cool. And trying to refereeing that, these guys just get plastered for refereeing, but it's so dang hard. Because you're going to do everything, every trick that you could possibly come up with that's skirting the rules, you're going to do.
Yes, there's 10 floppers out there, whatever they say. And they're trying to figure out when they're screened from the ref, and they're holding, they're clutching and grabbing. And if the refs call every foul, literally call the rule book, they'll get ripped. 51 fouls, 70 free throws. Nobody wants to see that.
No.
But if they don't call it, then they're terrible, and the games are fixed, and on down the line, and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada.
I know.
So it's brutal. All I ask is that they don't miss the obvious stuff. And in the fourth quarter, I thought they missed obvious stuff. And in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals, there were some brutal no calls.
Well, I think that they go to the free throws discrepancy. If it's ballpark, if it was 33 to 29, Mike Brown can't say anything.
Right. But you can't have Wemby hitting Brunson like that. Wemby's hit 3 or 4 guys during the playoffs. Now, one time he got disciplined for it. And the other times he largely gets away with it. He's got to quit hitting guys in the head. That needs to stop.
I agree.
Just get the obvious stuff. All the clutching and grabbing coming off every screen. Cat was holding. Wemby was trying to run over and set a screen, and Cat just had him wrapped up.
Oh, they all do that.
I know. And so that's where that part I'm not complaining about. That's really hard to ref. It's like, well, how many fouls are you going to call? And in the last 2 minutes of the game, when there's already a free throw discrepancy, Towns is just staring him.
I don't think
again.
It's about individual fouls. It's about free throw margins.
And they were plus 10 on the road.
And that's what got Brown upset. Yeah. A referee once told Steve Cleveland before the first media timeout, when his team had 5 fouls and the other team didn't have any, he looked at him and said, relax. We haven't even gotten to the first media timeout. What he's telling him, we'll even it out.
Hockey tonight, Game 4, Stanley Cup Final. 2 of the 3 games have gone overtime. Vegas leads 2-1. Might as well turn it on and watch. It is a fool's errand to predict what will happen. Good luck figuring that out.
Oh, yeah, I got no idea. I mean, I've watched every game, and you try to get a feel, but it's so hard to get a feel on this. You think, Vegas, they're going to smoke them, and then the next thing you know, it's tied, and then they win.
The Oakland Sacramento Athletics have moved to Las Vegas for 6 games, a 1-week homestand. A little preview, trying to build a little bit of a fan base in Vegas. And what do? They lose to Milwaukee 15-14 in 12 innings, a wild game. They blow an 8-3 lead. They score 4 in the 9th to tie the game, 4 in the 10th to tie the game, and then lose in the 12th.
Yeah, I thought it was a college game there.
Well, 15-14, I get why you, except for the ping of the aluminum bat. Yeah, I can see why you go there. But, to your point, there's a little bit of elevation there. Not a lot, but a little bit. And is it going to be like Colorado?
Well, they'll know stuff going into it, so they'll be able to circumvent it to an extent. It won't get to that point, I don't think.
And what will happen if baseball comes to Utah? And
if it ends up being that way, then it's going to be a struggle because pitchers don't want to go to Colorado.
Nope, they do not. All right, DJ and PK. Stay with us. We got your feedback next, right here on The Zone. DJ and PK, it is time for your feedback. What have you got to say about today's show? Yahoo reports Big 12 administrators have had serious talks about not playing Texas Tech in any sports. Do you think they have the guts to follow through? DCWVC says, I wish if Sorsby suits up at all this season, Tech should be toast. Ted says, no. Period.
They don't have the guts? Well, I think they can maybe sanction them.
What would that look like? What would they be sanctioning? How do they sanction them?
He's ineligible. 5 games, 7 games. Some form of suspension.
Lengthen that 2-game suspension?
Yeah.
Can they give him a 6-game suspension, and then will he want to be there, and will he just take off? It's different, but I'm drawing a parallel with Retzlaff.
I understand that. It depends on what the money, what level does Cody Campbell just say, well, we'll forgive the money that we're paying you even if you don't play? So there's money involved.
Yeah. That's a factor.
So
I can see that.
What are the ramifications there? If it's 6 games, I mean, I think he ought to do what Retzlaff did. Now, he wouldn't probably be able to go like Jake
He wouldn't
did.
go to another school, but he could go to the NFL. And if he's going to face a suspension in the NFL, I'm just guessing here, but I'm guessing he would. But if he is, there's an argument like, we'll just get on with it. Just go get drafted in whatever round in this, and then serve the suspension this year.
Well, the
and
round
get on with it,
in
get back to play.
the supplemental draft is irrelevant as far as I'm concerned.
Except it would define again how much money he makes.
I understand
but other than that,
but you can't be worried about the money. You're trying to be worried about making a team at the NFL level. You could be worried about the money here, and would you have to pay it back and blah, blah, blah. I understand all that. But, yeah, there might be it might be in his best interest to show a real what's in terms of getting over it and being serious, because now it seems like you went to rehab for show. Some people can claim that. I'm not saying I do, but you went to rehab for show, and then 6 weeks later you're out, and then you're worried about playing again. When you've got this serious gambling problem, and it seems like playing shouldn't be at the top of your list. It should be getting this eradicated from your mind and all the things that you do, and never bet again. As part of the deal with Pete Rose, he kept showing up at tracks.
He did.
Which is legal.
It is, but
it's not a good look.
Right, yeah. I mean, have a sense of the moment.
Yeah, you're
Read
basically flipping a finger at whoever was the commissioner after Giamatti. I don't even remember. And then on to, what's-his-face, the Milwaukee Brewers owner, C-League. And, you went through all that. And if you would have put on seminars and spoke to the evils of gambling, particularly the young people, maybe there would have been some change. I have no idea. But, if he did that, then it did look like, okay, you went through the rehab, and really it was just about lay low, be over there for a while, and then you'll come back and in the summer start getting ready for the 26 season. That's not a good look.
Mark Harlan says he's disheartened by the injunction today in the Brendan Sorsby matter. Don't even BYU fans agree with him this time. I would think they do.
Yeah, you got to get off Mark's back on this one.
I don't. Yeah, this one isn't. You got to go find something else to argue about.
He's got your best interest at heart here.
Cody, I'd like to congratulate the Utes for not being the most hated team in the Big 12 right now.
I don't know that there was a most hated. I guess there has to be somebody. Was it?
But it's now Texas Tech.
Oh, I don't think it's resoundingly now
right.
Texas Tech. But it was trending that way either way.
The winning and the jealousy will usually do it.
The money.
Yep.
It's not necessarily the winning. It's the way you're winning in the new world.
If you have a lot of money and you're losing, then you get laughed at like the Mets.
Well, you don't.
Or the Angels.
But you don't at the college level. That's not going to happen.
No big money. Texas, not right now, but over the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, but
they're reviewed as underachieving.
It's totally different now. Now it's legal.
They're close enough. They're close enough now that it's. Yeah, but they still had resources. I mean, you get the best facilities. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, but the facilities don't put money in my pocket.
It is different paying players, no doubt. And Sarkisian's record, they're close enough to the top now.
Well, they're competitive.
Yeah. It's not like they're out there wandering around at 6-6 and everybody's looking at them like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Which they had some of that going on.
Yeah. Them, Nebraska, and teams that were big way back when. But I suspect Texas will be fine going forward. Basically, you're asking the coach not to screw it up.
Jesse says, honestly, college sports are a crap show now. Judges can overrule anything the NCAA says or does.
Well, if you can overrule gambling, what can't you overrule?
Yeah, it's a clean sweep. Chris Lovell brought it up when he was on. It's Vanderbilt got a 7th year, and Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss, they got a bonus year. And was it Alabama basketball was another example he had? They won.
Charles Bediako, the guy that tried to come back, played 5 games, and got ruled officially ineligible.
And now this, and it's just, the NCAA just takes one L after another in court.
But this is the ultimate.
I have a hard time believing
this is one that everybody agrees on except Cody and McGuire.
Yeah. Tech's an outlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody else agrees on it. And my guess, if it were Texas Tech that was not involved, they'd agree on it.
Oh, yeah. If Sorsby had gone to LSU, maybe
How
LSU.
could you?
Maybe LSU would be in the. Yeah, but Tech would be like, this is so wrong.
It would be like olive oil in The Shining. How could you? How could you?
Olive oil in The Shining.
You remember that one?
You're mixing your movies. She did play olive oil, though, yes. All right, DJ PK, we're out of time. Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe are next right here on The Zone.
Summer is all about freedom, fun, and growing up. And between the ages of 9 and 13, kids are starting to form their views about alcohol. With more independence, their still developing brains need more guidance and support than ever. That's why summer is the perfect time to stay connected and plan fun, safe family activities together. Research shows kids who spend quality time with their parents doing what they enjoy are less likely to drink underage. And when kids feel close to you, they're more likely to listen, especially when you set clear expectations. In fact, kids who drink before 15 are far more likely to struggle with alcohol later. This summer, create a no-bummer summer with fun, alcohol-free activities for your kids. Go to summer.parentsempowered.org to take a quick quiz and discover ideas tailored to your family. A little time together can make a big difference. For more information and to learn more about how to prevent underage drinking, visit parentsempowered.org.